Hello, and thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I am Thomas Metal 75, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Review. And today is a Thursday night edition of the Massachusetts Beer Reviews and Company. Company has not joined me yet. Company had asked if, in the form of Louisiana Beer Reviews, Jay Theriault asked me if I wanted to do this format because Rajay's Beer Ventures doesn't seem to be hosting tonight, and wanted to know if I wanted to host a beer type chat this evening, and I said sure. And if anybody's watching this live and they want an actual link to be on the video, I just posted it in the chat. Hello, Jean. Jean, hello?
What's up, Eric? How you doing, man?
Hola, okay. Just getting the whatever this chat, whoever's going to join the chat, just getting that started and running today. I'm, again, for the folks that may be watching, I am not really filling in for Rod J's Beer Ventures, but since he's not doing Thursday, again, Louisiana Beer Reviews asked if I wanted to do this, and I am glad to host a beer during the Patriots and Jacksonville Jaguars game this evening.
I got nothing really popping.
Jacksonville and Patriots are 3-3 live in the second quarter currently.
Yeah, I got nothing going on tonight. Do I have an echo?
I don't hear an echo from you, Jean.
Okay. I'm just crap on TV right now. I'm just MLB. There's a baseball game on MLB Network. I think it's one of the local regionals.
Okay.
It's part of Kansas City, St. Louis, and ain't really else on. I had a long day, and it's raining here. It's been raining consistently, and it's just been an effing mess. And I'm trying to figure out, should I go back to school or should I keep working and trying to balance both at the same time, or just quit my job or stay work part-time at my job and go to school full-time? Trying to get into the medical profession, as my mom feels I need to get into, and which I should. I mean, looking at it, it's the only stable thing that's out there. I write, but haven't written anything. Anyway, it's a long, complicated story, Eric.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I won't go into it.
No, that's fine. I'm glad I just got a full-time job that I did. I had been out of work since February, and I'm glad I finally found something that's interesting. Hello, Mr. Jay Theriault.
Well, that's good. That's good. And now you'll be a purchasing order. All right, the white beater tonight. I like it.
Uh-oh, like Sean
2.0. All right. Cool.
Right. Well, thank you for joining the Massachusetts Beer Reviews discussion tonight, gentlemen. I don't know what the discussion is, but we'll talk about whatever is on our mind beer-related, so let's do that.
Yeah, I just did. Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say beer flow, keep the mother rolling, because you were saying, you saw that what I wrote on Facebook, because you were saying, is Rajay gonna have the hangout? I said I haven't heard anything, and so I didn't see any kind of announcement. So Eric's got this habit now of Thursday night. I was going to watch the Saints game. I'm probably going to go lay down and watch. But you know, these preseason games,
that's what it is.
They don't even play they don't even play the good players, you know. So I mean, it's a joke. But,
keeping them injury-free, basically.
But as you know, people are just itching. I mean, this is not an Olympic year. This is not there's no World Cup going on. So, I mean, after the NBA, and yes, people are watching baseball, true, but really are waiting for the playoffs to start in baseball. And really, they're waiting for Labor Day weekend, you know, with college football starting that weekend. And then a couple of days later, that started the NFL season. The Pats, Eric, hosting Kansas City, the first game, kick off the season.
Right.
So, people just itching for some football, you know. So.
Okay, but I've been watching a lot of baseball, and to me, it's been I'm trying to get this cap on. It's been an interesting season. I mean, you got the Astros now.
Yeah, you're right.
They're starting to go down. They lost 2 games in a row to the White Sox of all teams.
Yeah.
You got the Dodgers are still going strong. So
it's going to be interesting in the I won't name names, but it'll be interesting in the place that I work how playoffs, and I've never been inside of a company that's done business with sports or done merchandising for sports. It'll be kind of interesting to see.
The Red Sox, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's actually they license headwear and apparel for MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA,
Okay.
over 900 colleges, and a lot of the other leagues, internationally and worldwide.
Okay.
Interesting to see how the playoffs in baseball really determine what it is that we need to sell and what kind of hot markets there are for the playoff contending teams, and even going into football now that that's coming out, and which teams are going to be really, really hot, which ones do we think we're going to sell, which ones might not run right off the shelves. It'll be interesting to be into that kind of a industry, I think.
Yeah.
Look at this, Jonathan Walker. I'm glad you got that job. And this Jonathan.
Oh,
hello.
Hey, John. What's up, man?
Oh, wonderful.
Excellent. What are we drinking this evening?
He said, "What's up?" He said, "Wonderful." That's what's up.
13 hours today. This was a very long day of beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're down in the dumps. Jean's down in the dumps, and I'm down in the dumps because of my daughter's knee injury.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna. Yeah.
Got more surgery, and I'm trying to figure out if the insurance is going to pay for it. I mean, she's not. My insurance is for this state, Louisiana.
Right.
She was visiting somebody in Alabama, and so she hurt her knee, and they did surgery, and then they still got to do a skin graft next week. So I would think that would not be like a normal doctor visit.
Wow.
That's like an emergency procedure, right? It's not like she can get in the car and drive home.
Uh-huh.
Because they want.
Is she limp? I mean, is she limping? I mean, what is she?
Limping.
I mean, what does that say that again, Jay? I'm sorry.
Can't even walk.
Oh no! Wow.
She's not limping. She cut her knee. They had to do surgery.
Oh! Wow. Oh,
she
man.
fell onto the concrete and hit her knee, and it tore all the skin. And they got this vacuum thing on there to keep the skin together until they could do the skin graft. So it's not like.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. So they can't say. I don't see how the Blue Cross could say, "Well, just drive home and go to the doctor over here." This is not a regular doctor. This is a plastic surgeon.
Ugh.
This is Blue Cross or Blue Shield of Alabama or Louisiana.
Cross of Louisiana, but they cover emergencies if you're out of state.
Okay.
They don't cover if you go like to the doctor. I got a stomachache, but you can't come home and get it done because it's like part of the emergency room procedure. But they got to wait a week to see what. She fell into this mud puddle, and all this mud went up into her ligaments and everything.
Ugh. Great. Wow.
Tough.
Yeah, this is not no little skin, like a brush burn.
Mm-hmm.
This was like a lot of stuff. So, and Jean said he had a bad day, and I'm not even. I drank my 4 beers for today, so I broke my quota. But I'm gonna deduct one from Saturday.
Okay.
I don't play around like that. I don't go over my weekly quota. People say, "Oh, you drink all the time. You're drunk." No, I plan it out. That's me. Y'all do it. Y'all.
Yep.
Right.
Drunken one got mad at me. What?
I had 14 adult beverages on Saturday. I wasn't very proud of that.
14. Wow.
That was so smart.
I mean, I started at 1 o'clock. I think I had my last one at 11, but I got to add.
I'm sorry, John.
And I was like, oh my Lord, I drank way too much that day.
The drunken one says, "Howdy do, peeps. Howdy do."
I'll tell the drunken one. I hope he didn't get mad at me. I was trying to kid with him last night. Tell him I was just joking around because he was running late. He couldn't make it, and I mean I can understand that. And then
so
he does so many hangouts. He does so many hangouts, and I was like, we don't do a 24-hour loop. And I think he might have thought I was insulting him, but I was just kidding, you know. 'Cause I find it's like incredible how they can do those.
You're breaking up.
Like,
you are breaking up, sir.
Me?
Yes.
Can I start again? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but we see your face, but the Falstaff sign is flashing now. Okay.
You need one of those gaming computers, I guess.
When I got my internet fixed, I got a dual band wireless box from Comcast. And they actually got it working right on the 4th try. I've had no problems with Hangouts or YouTube or streaming movies.
That's the thing. I need to update. I mean, when we got DirecTV, I mean, before we got DirecTV, we had AT&T Uverse, and we expanded our internet, and for whatever the reason, but for some reason these past couple of months, it's been like it'll break up, it'll go slow for whatever the reason. I'm wondering if we just need to expand the bandwidth on it. And
you might need to get the box reset. Well, you can actually do that. There should be a button on the back. Sometimes that helps.
Right. The router. Right.
What is everybody drinking this evening?
Voodoo Ranger.
Nice.
I love this stuff.
Anything for John?
Oh, I just finished off a Bud Ice. I got another one left, and I'm about to finish that one now. So let me go get that.
I'm gonna be. I think I talked about this one before, but I'm gonna drink another 16-ounce can in the Firestone Walker Leo versus Ursus Lion versus Bear series. It's their Adversus, which is the second beer in the Leo versus Ursus series. It is a double IPA. I believe it's 8.2. Yep, 8.2% alcohol by volume. They talk about on the FirestoneWalkerBeer.com website that it's only going to be released from June to September 2017, and then they're going to either put it in the vaults or maybe one day bring it back. They say it's a big, bold IPA made for summertime sipping. They use Pilsner malts that add levity and dryness to the palate, allowing for refreshing texture through the finish. The result is a double IPA that is high on hop aromas, balanced in bitterness, and perfect for long, warm days of summer. And it's got, all they say for hops is it's Pacific Northwest, which give it notes of stone fruit, pineapple, mango, and earthy pine resin. And I remember, go ahead. Yeah, and I remember trying the beer at one point, or the last time that we had a review. I think it might have been with Rajay. And I mean, I understand it's 8.2, so I understand where they come off of saying a sipping beer, but it's a little bit too big of a body for me to want it in, like, to be a refreshing that. Well, it's too big of a body of a beer for me to call it refreshing for summertime beer drinking. I mean, it is pretty good. The nose is definitely got those juicy, resiny hops from the East Coast, New England style. And it looks like it, too.
That sounds good. I would like to try it. And, hey, when I was jumping over to bring up the chat, that's what made my thing go a little wiggly, wiggly, wiggly. You know, it's not the gaming computer issue, really, though. You hear me all right?
Yeah, it is breaking up slightly still.
You're fine. It's not the gaming computer thing. It's something wrong with these Hangouts, because I never had any problems until like 2 months ago, man. Hey, Drunken One.
Hey, how the heck are you?
Hope I didn't make it, man. I was watching that Albino Rhino, and I said, oh. You might have taken it the wrong way. I was just kidding with you.
All right, no, it's all well. I forget sometimes these things are recorded.
I said, oh, sounds like Star Wars video call on a Death Star, Jay.
It has that sound to it.
Damn it. Yeah, you got to get that gaming computer.
Anyway.
Republican Gamer, it does it every time. No, that's all good. Life goes on. It's all good. No, whatever.
Back to this Firestone Walker beer. It does smell like a New England juicy IPA. It doesn't quite drink like that. I think it doesn't quite drink like it's 8.2, but you can percent alcohol, but you can definitely tell it's a little bit of a heftier beer. I think they're right on the money when they say it has those piney and stone fruit and pineapple notes and the resinous notes. Definitely a lot of resinous oil notes. They don't mention how big the IBUs are, but it's got to be in the 70s or 80s, I would imagine. Lots of caramel malts, sweet brown, maybe not brown bread, but there's a sweet bready component to it. I would say it's a straight up medium to the low side of a full bodied. It is pretty crisp. It's clean after a while. It is pretty drying. And it's mildly refreshing. It's not the worst beer for the refreshment, but in summertime, I'm not really looking for a sipping kind of beer. So I think for them to say it's a great summertime sipper is kind of not the way to go with the marketing on that. But it's still a really, really, really good example of a West Coast IPA. And I probably will give it my standard B plus, maybe an 80. So it's good for what it is, definitely. I would recommend getting it. I think the 4-pack of this at my local craft beer cellar where I got this from was maybe 13 and change, which isn't too bad for what it is. And it was really fresh when I bought it. When I got it, I got it last weekend. I got it last weekend, and it's canned on the 11th of July, so it's not old at all for the West Coast coming to Massachusetts.
And who's the brewery? Who makes it?
Firestone Walker does, from Paso Robles, California, which is outside of San Diego.
Can you hear me now? Do I sound any better now?
Yes,
you do. Sounds good.
I think it threw it off when I tried to bring up the chat and I had to reset it. But like I was saying, I never had any of these problems before 2 months ago. And it's weird because I might sound like, but I can hear y'all fine. You know? So it's like I don't hear mine, but I hear y'all, you know.
It's the crazy thing of the internet.
And I've been seeing a lot of people's hangouts get corrupted by like bad audio when they're not doing anything wrong. Or Jean doing his thing. And
turn it off.
Damn it.
And then the drunken one got kicked out of his own hangout.
No. Yeah, no, that was a troll that came in. I don't know the guy's name or whatever. You've seen the video. If not, go back and look at it. But no, that guy popped in, somehow become moderator, kicked me out, and it was all just like really quick. And that whole night, go ahead.
That's why I made a report back to you that my records were showing that what had happened. You know,
yes, sir.
I sent you that report.
Yes, sir. You sure did. Yeah, it was like 9:30 at night or whatever, and that's when it happened. But everybody's thing, like there was Jonathan's name on Jean-Pierre, and Ronald was Thomas, and it just was quirky. And then at one point, it was like you seen like the toolbar and stuff as if you were looking at their computer. And then that guy flashed in. He was only in literally for like 2 seconds in that thing. If you go back and look at the video, maybe 2 seconds. And he popped in, kicked me out, and he was gone. And I was able to finish and then I was gone too. You know, I finished my sentence, but barely. You know, and then I was gone too. And then he did it again because I restarted another hangout. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm not drinking beer tonight.
Hey,
I'm drinking whiskey.
Oh my God.
The Seagram 7. No punk little bottle. That's the
Seagram 7. My mother-in-law, my soon-to-be mother-in-law, she loves Seagram 7. That was her favorite drink. Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah. Jeffrey Ryan from New England Beer Reviews said a little bit earlier that he says, "I am drinking a New Hampshire beer, Great North Ale Works tie-dyed." So. Hello in New Hampshire there, Jeff Lyons. We got 4 viewers right now, so hello to you 4.
New hamsters, all right.
Yeah,
hamsters.
And he met up with some Louisiana guys when he went on his trip, and he was talking about some Louisiana beers. I was talking to him a few minutes ago before I got on this. The drunken one was saying we ought to do the Seagram 7, but I got such a backstock. I'm gonna talk to you about doing a hangout in 20 19.
Nice.
What does Seagram 7 taste like? I've never had it.
It's a blended American whiskey. I don't have very talented taste buds.
Does it taste like Jim Beam or something?
Yeah, something kind of like that. It's kind of a blended type thing, so it's not really. I don't think it's really a whiskey necessarily. Just not one kind anyway. It's blended. It used to be Canadian. Well, it says blended whiskey. I don't know.
Oh, Seagram's Canadian. Yeah.
Hey, what's the difference between Kentucky bourbon and Tennessee whiskey? Please
You
refresh.
gotta talk to John about that. Terry or Ron.
Or Canadian whiskey, you know, or
I don't care about Canadian whiskey. This is America.
Tennessee whiskey, I'm wrong there. It's an actual definition where they have the charcoal filter that.
Jonathan, go drink some water. Look, I'll tell you the difference.
Me?
It looks like you might need to drink a little water, buddy.
Well, there, you're fine, John.
Getting a little done out there. Hey.
Yeah. No, this is my first one.
Oh, it is?
Sweet.
Okay. I'll tell you the difference. You all right, Eric?
I'm waiting for the difference.
We're here. We're waiting. Yeah. Bring it.
Let's do it.
Okay, the difference is this. Very simple. What Drunken One's drinking is a blended whiskey. Okay, so like he said, there's different ones they blend together and they come up with the combination they want and they sell it. They also use grain neutral spirits, sort of like adjunct lagers, use filler. Okay, but Seagram's, that's been on the market for a long time, like 100 years. Now, actually over 100 years.
Well, this one says 75% grain neutral spirits. For whatever that means. That's what it says on here on the bottle.
Yeah, it's grain alcohol. It's made from any kind of vegetable matter, and it doesn't have any aroma, has no flavor. It's just pure alcohol.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. You're right. Right. No, this has flavor and color and this and that. No, this is pretty good. I'm happy with it.
Now,
right. But the neutral thing, I see what you're saying. More like a vodka or something.
Right, and all the flavor and the aroma is coming from the 25% actual whiskey.
Mm.
So it can have a rich flavor and aroma. But it's all coming from that whiskey percentage. Now, you were asking about the bourbon. Bourbon cannot have any kind of filler. It has to be like the German Reinheitsgebot. It's got to be like.
You're saying this is bourbon?
No,
no. What he's talking about is bourbon, but this is not bourbon. This is not.
That's
This
not
is blended. This is blended.
A bourbon has to be all whiskey. It cannot have any grain neutral spirits. It has to be at least 51% corn. Oh wait, let me take that back. It may have grain neutral spirits. Let me retract that. But they got to call it a blended bourbon. It's got to be at least 51% corn though. Okay, and it's got to be aged in brand new, never before used charred oak barrels.
Yeah, I've heard of that. That's the difference, right?
Now,
Right.
Seagram 7 is probably aged in used barrels.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's why it's under $20. I got this on sale for $18.99. It was on sale, literally, not for sale, but on sale for like $18.99. So $19 for a half a gallon, and it's 80 proof. So I mean, you get your fill.
What's that whiskey that comes in a green case like this? You have to open it up. Real fancy. It's something meringue.
Meringue?
No, it's
Glenmorangie or Glen.
Oh yeah,
Grand Meringue. Yeah, that. I had that.
That's Scott.
Grand Marnier.
Yeah,
Right?
that one.
Yeah.
It's Scottish. I thought that was pretty good.
No, not Grand Marnier. No, that's different.
Yeah.
It was something like that. It was I think it was Scottish, but I thought it was pretty good. I'm not really big into.
Yeah, it was. It's about like Mariner or something.
So I'm gonna send the name of it in our little chat here.
I'll pronounce it. Oh, Glenmorangie.
That.
Oh, okay. No, that's that's not what I was thinking. I bet. Okay.
Hey, do you like Kona? Kona beers?
Yeah, I like Kona. Oh, real fast, you asked about Tennessee whiskey and bourbon.
Yes.
Tennessee whiskey is bourbon.
It is?
It's just what they choose to call it for marketing purposes.
So if it's made in Tennessee, it's Tennessee whiskey.
Well, it's up to the company. Like Jack Daniels decided they're gonna call it Tennessee whiskey. But if they
Probably
wanted
a
to,
heritage thing that they use that.
yeah, right. But like if they
Yeah.
if they decided tonight they wanted to start calling it Jack Daniels bourbon, they could do it without any problem. You know?
Anybody want to hear some beer-related news here? I found out on Fox
right.
News. I got
Yeah,
some-
somebody got bought out today.
well, this Fox News
Funky
is not
Buddha.
about a buyout, but it is about a company that got recently bought out, or that recently bought out. What's the company there? Lagunitas, Heineken. They say the article has the title of quote Heineken drinker claims he found 2 geckos in his beer. Files lawsuit.
Oh, right. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Get
It's
to my
hard
beer. I
to
would do that
believe.
thing with
Consumers, let's see here. Let's see here. This guy, George Tobeck, said he bought 2 24-ounce cans of Heineken in August 2015 from a Kroger's owned in Fountain Valley, and I'm not sure what state or California. And he had a decidingly unpleasant experience after drinking one. He says per the suit, Tubeck picked up on a quote foul taste in his brew. Soon after sipping, he fell victim to quote severe abdominal pain followed by vomiting. He says when his daughter went to examine the can, she made an alarming discovery inside: 2 undecomposed juvenile lizard geckos, which aren't native to the U.S. They're indigenous to parts
Don't
of
go any further than that.
Pakistan, India, Iraq, and Iran, but can be kept as pets here. He said he became violently ill and went to the ER where he was given anxiety and nausea medication. Yeah. The geckos were probably alive and sealed in the can at the packaging plant. Heineken, for its part, called the incident isolated and says, "quote Based on a number of factors, we confidently believe there is no merit to his claim." And they say, "quote If you have a strong enough stomach, or if you've got a strong stomach, consumers documents other instances of surprise ingredients in food and beverage."
That sounds really weird. I put up Heineken. All of our Heineken comes from a European plant, and
Right, that doesn't sound credible. That story sounds crazy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Now,
Well, 1 in there is one thing, but 2, I mean, come on now. Yeah.
after tasting that, never mind, I didn't taste it. After smelling that dang,
Carly.
That stout you had, right?
that was a nightmare in a bottle. I told my friend
I saw
David,
that video. I was like, oh, man.
I told my friend David, I said, ain't no way I'm tasting that. I mean, I never smelled a beer that smells so rotten.
But it wasn't from undecomposed geckos, was it?
No, it was from something worse, probably. I said, I'd rather drink the geckos. I said, I said, no way.
Wow. I couldn't deal with that.
Thank you.
Well, beer.
No, it ain't the drunken one was making that noise.
I thought it was. I am sorry, drunken one.
That was our friend in Virginia. Hey,
He's back and good now.
What's the noise? Is it my cat that's bothering y'all?
no, we heard some kind of talking.
No, unless my cat was able to speak English word or English, I don't. There's nothing. There's no
I
talking.
muted the right person. Sorry, drunken one.
Okay, I like cats. Hey,
Hold on. This is my cat, by the way. If you like cats.
hello, kitty.
Yeah, she's a very cute looking cat. No.
Hello, kitty. But that was a bad experience. I mean, that was a really bad experience. I drank camos and I threw those against the fence.
So what do you think? What do you think the right? Because I know we talked about that online on Facebook as a beer talk 2017 kind of a chat. What do you really think is the right course of action to undergo when a beer that you're paying that much money for is that wrong? What do you think you should be doing? Should you be contacting the distributors, the brewery, the store you bought it at? How do you deal with that?
Okay, first let me say this. He got it as a gift.
Okay.
He didn't pay anything for it. He admitted that to me. I said, oh, well. He said, but I'm still going to bring, he knew what store it came from. So he said, I'm going to bring it over there to let them know what happened. They have other bottles on the shelf. Maybe they're rotten too, you know. But then he thought he was going to get some money for it, which to me is like a scam, you know, on his part. But anyway, so I said, well, do what you want. I was leaving. I didn't care. So he went to New Orleans because he lives right off the same highway as this beer store's on, you know, miles away. So he drove down there and he went in there and he told the guy what happened. And the guy had told him, if you ever get a bad beer, bring it back. So he said, I got a bad beer. I'm bringing it back. Oh, well, I have to get my expert beer taste just to see what's wrong. He's like, what? He's like, this stuff is rotten. You wouldn't drink it, would you? Oh, well, I'm not he was trying to like not do it, you know, not take care of it. He said, I just wanted you to know the stuff was bad. But you see, if I had bought it, I probably would have had a receipt somewhere in here. And I'd have brought it back with the receipt and said, this stuff's spoiled. I'm not drinking it. And I want my money back. They probably would have given him his money back. So they might have thought he was up to some kind of hustle, you know. But then he wrote a letter to the beer company, North Coast Brewing, like you were asking what to do. He wrote to North Coast, and they wrote him back, and they said, well, everybody's got different tastes in beer. We don't think that it was bad. We just think you don't like that flavor.
Wait a minute. Didn't Goose Island Brewing Company openly admit when their beers were contaminated?
Yeah, the North Coast said that this batch wasn't bad. They just basically were saying we don't know what good beer is. And then they said they didn't like the idea of somebody posting a video saying bad stuff about their beer. Well, what was I supposed to do? Make a video saying, "Oh, this stuff's great," and pretend like I'm drinking it?
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm working within a company that sells to the retail market, I mean, the company that I work at. It's not just going to put trash out on the market and expect that because it's trash, you know, people have to like it because you bought the product. Now it's your fault that you bought it, and now you have to be forced to like it. Well, if you're going to put out kind of like my company, I think with the with that particular Old Rasputin beer, if you're going to put out a higher end product on the market, you better be putting out a product you're seriously passionate about and you seriously care about, and not only just those things, that you seriously even care about what the consumer has to say about your product. Because if you keep getting really terrible customer service like you seem to be getting from North Coast, it can only go downhill from there if enough people are having problems, and then North Coast just sort of, you know, throws them to the wayside.
Well, I told David, I said, look, I told him this yesterday on the email or the day before. I said, look, you didn't pay for the beer anyway, so don't even press the issue. Just drop it.
Yeah, exactly.
You told the beer store that the stuff was rotten. They didn't want to do anything about it. You you emailed the company, and they didn't act like they wanted to do anything. Just forget about it. Well, you let them know. It's not like you got screwed out of money because you didn't pay anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't even.
Yeah, who gave him the beer? I do not know. But I know this much. I wish you could smell that over the internet, because
smell-o-vision.
You know, don't tell me, oh, you just drank Miller High Life. You don't know what good beer is. Yeah, forget that. I drank a lot of good beers. I drank a lot of good North Coast beers like Old Rasputin. I've drank barrel-aged beers, and I drank the Narwhal before, and nothing I ever drank, and I'm talking about stuff from Minhas and City Brewing, nothing ever tasted, well, I can't say taste because I wouldn't dare try it, taste it, but nothing I ever opened up smelled rotten like that. Ugh. And I know the smell of rotten garbage. It smelled like a garbage truck, you know, when you pass behind it. There was no way. I told David, Jean saw the video. I said, there's no way I'm tasting this. No way, thanks. No thanks.
Hey, listen, if a beer...
I want to know how the brewery would have packaged something that smelled like that. Because wouldn't it have smelled bad at the brewery?
It might have gone bad in the bottle. You know, it was corked. And it's barrel-aged.
You purchased it from the store, right, Jay?
No, I told you somebody gave it to him.
Oh, okay.
It was a gift.
But I'm sure they probably didn't look at the date, and they probably looked at it and said,
that's,
you know, like, maybe the year or something.
I mean, they would have had to have sampled it before it went out in the market.
Yeah, it was probably all right when they put it in the bottles. That stuff's like 14% alcohol.
I mean, to their credit, it could have actually just been a one-off thing, and that might not represent the whole line of the barrel-aged Rasputin.
No, it probably isn't. And like you said, it might have been something wrong with the cork, and it had bacteria on it.
It might have just been that one bottle or a couple bottles.
I think it's gonna have to be. I think it's gonna have to be
Right.
with the craft beer drinkers, you know, as a whole that drink this beer to really determine that, because obviously a big company like Anheuser-Busch, which I'm going to get to with a different story here, with the big company like Anheuser-Busch, they're not just going to admit that the Goose Island Brewing Company is having a problem with their Bourbon County line with the barley wines and then some of their stouts, unless it what happened on somewhat of a large scale. I mean that's just a
That
problem.
was the whole stinking batch. That was the whole stinking batch.
No, that wasn't a one-off at all.
Oh no, they sent me
You
my
had Bourbon County?
Huh?
Have you tried the Bourbon County one?
Yeah, they sent me a refund
Why?
because it was spoiled.
The
They
2016
admitted it
version?
was spoiled at least.
The 2015 barley wine style ale.
I had the 2016 regular stout, the one with the black label, and the 2016 coffee. The coffee was one of the best. Like, was the best stout I've ever had in my life.
It's a great stout, yeah.
Oh,
We couldn't get the coffee here. We got in 2015. We only got the Bourbon County stout and the barley wine. But that barley wine was rotted. I mean, it wasn't rotted. It was like
The distributorship here in Richmond got like I think 10 cases of the coffee.
Do you get any Weyerbacher beers down there in Louisiana?
Yes. I used to stock it, but we sold it to another distributor.
Because they make a really good beer called the Sunday Morning Stout, which is kind of like a Bourbon County coffee stout in a way.
We only get Mary.
In Louisiana, we don't get. He's got me curious with that Seagram 7. I might have to work on a side project.
Oh yeah, it don't hurt. You don't have to video everything you see or everything you drink. You know.
Let's review Seagram 7 with 7 of our closest friends.
Have any of y'all had this one though? The Kona
7
Phenomenon?
7's
I never had that.
I'll
I never
have to
had
be out of
that.
that Seagram 7 review. No thanks.
What Kona beer you got there? What Kona beer you got?
I never had that particular Kona, but I had other Konas and they were good.
Which Kona is
This
that?
one is- It's Kona Hanali. It's the summer seasonal.
Ooh, no.
This stuff is. I wish I could have bought a case of this. Jeez, this stuff is amazing.
Wow. All right.
It's got. Hold on, I'll read the. It's an ale brewed with passion fruit, orange, and guava, with natural flavors added.
Natural flavors. They can mean anything.
I ain't really into that. I'm not really into that, but I did like the Kona that ale. You know that
The
one.
Big Wave.
Yeah, the Big Wave
That was good.
and the
Big Wave and Pale Fire are both really good.
Some people get off on Kona the wrong way because they're owned by somewhat of a conglomerate.
They're owned by
Isn't it the Craft Beer Alliance or something like that?
North American Beer Alliance? Something like
Yeah,
that?
that's where they're
No,
all.
it's called the Craft Brewers Alliance, like Eric's talking about. And
Yeah, right.
Anheuser-Busch has a 32% stake in it. They do not own it.
Oh, because
51.
I've been to the brewery. I've been to a brewery in Port. What was it? I guess it was Portsmouth, New Hampshire, because that Brewers Alliance, they own the Red Hook beer brand. So a lot of the Red Hook breweries around the country brew Kona beers as well. So when I went to the Red Hook brewery at Portsmouth, New Hampshire, they were brewing side by side with Red Hook Kona beers right there.
Red Hook and Kona is the same thing.
It's all part of AB InBev, right?
No.
Yeah.
Said that, no, they got a little bit of an
It's in my little date book, Kona and Red Hook, all of it.
nice.
They come with Anheuser-Busch codes.
Well, that's
How
cool.
would it not
Because
own?
they have a 32% stake in the company and they handle their distribution. But I got jacked up by that company.
Last time I
Right.
checked, it was like 51.
Listen, no, that company jacked me up. I made a video and I said just what you're saying. I said, "Oh, Anheuser-Busch owns them," and within 24 hours or less, I got an email
Oh,
from Red Hook saying, did you make a video? Did you make a video saying that we're owned by Anheuser-Busch?" I said, "Well, yeah, that's the truth, isn't it?" No, and that lady dressed me down. She said, "Let me tell you something. We're not owned by them. They have a 32% equity agreement with us. Please do not get on the video and say we are owned by Anheuser-Busch."
Of course they own. They are owned.
why can't they be really? Why can't these
They're
breweries?
They're like, sorry, Daddy. I'm sorry Jay put that video on there saying that we're owned by you. I'm
Why
sorry.
can't these breweries and these
No, I thought I was going to get. I thought
really
they were
honest
gonna,
about their business practices? Wouldn't that be a really nice thing for a consumer? Because as we know, when it comes to craft beer, especially with craft beer, people are really, really, really concerned for whatever reason about
and
who owns
sensitive
what.
about who owns the brewery, you know.
So you would think that people would want to know.
and I got scared. I got scared because I thought they were going to sue me. So I hurried up and made another. I made another video saying, "Hello, folks. You know, Kona. Hello, folks. You know, I said Red Hook is not owned by Anheuser-Busch. Let me repeat, not owned by Anheuser. So
Jesus. Well, you know, like I said, you know, I just wish Lagunitas and, you know, they like to say the independent, even though we know they're owned by Heineken. You know, same with
100%
exactly. Same with you know, Line and Kugel. They say, yeah, we're independent. No, but you're owned by Miller. You know, just submit that, hey, we got ownership with these companies, and just leave it from there.
Yeah.
You know, but I think they're concerned that their buyers or their fans or the consumers will sort of kind of reject them and whatnot, and tell them, you know, hey, we're not, you know, we want no part of your stuff, you know, and it's just a bunch of bull.
My issue with that is I'm not sure that the company itself is doing all that they can do to really reach out to their consumer base and really be forthright and honest. It seems like in craft beer, it's almost, I mean, I can't say that that the companies don't put out their own information, but it seems like in craft beer, because of just maybe just the social aspect of beer and the nature of, you know, alcohol as a beverage and a consumable, but it seems like beer is a word of mouth. Like if one person hears something, then the word travels. It's like it didn't even start from the brewery itself. You're hearing it from from the person that heard that they bought out the brewery, like from 5 other people before you finally end up hearing about it. It's like, why can't the breweries actually be really honest and have public statements that their consumer base will you know, really listen to? Beyond me.
well, but and Average Joe's watching. Oh, guess what? What's all this background noise?
Must be Jean.
No, not on my end.
All right, good this time. We just default to blame Jean. We're sorry.
It's not Uncle. It's not Uncle Ronald. It's not.
All
Uncle
right,
Ronald.
I got another story.
Wait.
Oh, hold on, intro. Yeah.
I'm about to get off of this. Now look, first of all, it was a buyout today. About 7 hours ago, another company got bought out, and everybody's throwing a fit. Secondly, Jonathan's talking about. Oh, secondly, you posted the link to this hangout in the chat, so you're probably going to get hacked and get kicked out your own hangout. Like Jonathan was talking about.
Join us.
Thirdly, I can't remember the third point. Oh, Jonathan has a cat named Carly Cat. But thirdly, yeah, people are freaking out about the buyout. Who got bought out today? It was a big one. It was a big company, and they were a big craft beer company, and they got bought out today. Huh?
Funky Buddha.
Oh yeah, Funky Buddha, Florida. Everybody's freaking out.
Never heard of them.
What?
Yep, never.
I had one of their products when I was.
Are they the ones that make that beer, make that lager beer in that Buddha shaped glassware or something like that?
Oh, that's from China.
Oh, good. I thought that was called Funky Buddha.
Did they answer the phone like hello?
No, that's Buddha. That's Lucky Buddha.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The company I work for, they have a distributorship down in Florida, and I think they might carry Funky Buddha, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I know it's really popular down there.
Really?
And on the internet, people are already saying they'll never drink it again.
Whatever. Go pound sand, people.
The Devil's Backbone here hasn't been for as much as they were before the buyout from them, maybe.
Oh, I've had some of their beers. They got bought out, huh?
Which one have you had?
Oh, I don't know. It was a few years ago. I think I was in Bristol, Tennessee / Virginia.
Their main ones is the 8 Point IPA and their Vienna Lager.
I was in the Bristol, Tennessee / Virginia border, and I went to this grocery store and they had a bunch of Devil's Back.
Food City?
Huh?
Did you go to a Food City?
No, I think it was Kroger's, and
yeah, they have Food City down there. That's why we don't have them here.
Yeah, and they have Food Line in Virginia.
Yeah, they put it.
Yeah, we got Food Line out there, Yin Yang.
They put it right up on well, somebody posted a link on Facebook, or not on Facebook, but on Twitter, to the actual FloridaBeerNews.com article that mentions the fact that it says that Funky Buddha was acquired by the Constellation Brands, which, if people don't remember, are the makers of Corona, Corona Light, and Modelo Especial. So now people are going to go, oh, they sold out the Corona. They sold out the cheap Mexican fizzy lager. Uh-oh.
No. They
make Parmesan wine and brandy, which I like to drink.
Yeah, average show says Funky Buddha getting bought out by Constellation equals the worst thing ever.
AB owns...
Yeah, they also say let's all be upset. Meanwhile, 2 weeks later, nobody cares, and another brewery is bought out. Funky Buddha equals known for their maple bacon porter, coffee porter, and Last Snow coffee and coconut porter.
Yeah, I was reading that before you read it. That's pretty funny.
Sorry, John, but go ahead, John.
I don't know what I was talking about.
He's talking about InBev doing something else.
Jean.
Jean-Pierre.
Yes.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, with all these breweries, you know, we're seem that the big guys seem to be gobbling up these companies or these breweries, whatever. And I'm wondering, is it fear of domination? Is it concern that they're going to take over? Or, you know.
No, I think
what is it?
I think it's because a lot of people that are into the beer hobby, they don't know a lot about the business world. And so, like, in their mind, it's like a big catastrophe when a beer company gets bought out. But yet, in their mind, it's not a big catastrophe if a macaroni company gets bought out.
My question about that would be
the food and beverage industry. People.
Yeah, where do these people that are doing all the criticizing of the beer companies? Where do they work? Do they work at a company that acquires other companies? Do they want the place of business that they work to go into Chapter 11 bankruptcy? Do they want to be out of a job? Well, the only way to be really, really successful is it's illegal to create monopolies. There's a whole bunch of laws about monopolies. It doesn't involve money bags. You can't go past go and collect $200 fucking. Pardon my French, but
that's where I kind of see this going now. Yeah, they're just going after these other companies.
Yeah, exactly what I'm trying to say is that these people still need to support their families. They still need a livelihood and money on the table, no matter. I mean, sketchy business practices are a different story that we're not even getting into. But all we're trying to say is this is how the business world around the globe works, not just for craft beer.
Now, where were these people upset when Rice-A-Roni sold out? Were these people upset when Zatarain sold out to General Mills?
No, because we don't eat rice. We just drink it.
Progresso.
We just drink ice.
Or Progresso, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's right. Progresso got bought out by General Mills.
Nestle owns a whole bunch of companies.
And that's how that gets all back to Monsanto and all that GMO crap, and that's the Kellogg's and Aunt Jemima and just research that if you're into it. And yeah, all the major cereal groups, they're all owned by the same company.
You know what's funny? The first thing that AB does after they purchase a brewery, they put them on board with their quality control standards. It's amazing. If you when you go to the tour, see that.
Okay, you say that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are they cracking down or are they being more lax?
They got to be cracking down. What I would think.
On their on your year-round products, you want them to taste the same every time.
Of course, sure.
Yeah, not your seasonals. Yeah, that's cool if they're different every year, but your year-round, you want to be the same every time.
The core
Every
beer,
bottle.
like chips.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's like you go to any McDonald's, every McDonald's burger tastes the same, worldwide.
Yeah, they do.
I've never been to the other side of the world, but I would assume that they're worldwide the same flavor because I can go from here to Michigan or wherever, and I live in Texas, by the way, and yeah, the burger is the same burger.
Let's just face facts. Pretty soon, there's just going to be one beer company called Beer Company.
Well, that's AB Beer Company.
Are they going to be sold at the beer store?
Yeah, it'll just be called the Brewing Company, and then there'll be one bank called the Bank.
So the government wins. All right.
The People's Bank.
Yeah, it's all going to be owned by the government at some point.
Every beer in the world will say brewed by.
Y'all ever seen this thing?
The brew.
No.
Oh, what is that? Walk the walk?
Walk the lime.
Cool.
It was sent to me from up that away, and it is brewed in. It's a 5.4, and it's brewed in Nashville, Tennessee. It came from what's his name? Boondocks Beer Views. Boondock.
Papa Top.
Y'all know Boondock. Y'all gotta know Boondock by now. 100% locally owned and operated, and finely tuned. It says American wheat beer. Y'all ever seen or heard of that thing at all? Okay. So I don't know what to think of it. Yeah, I'm no beer reviewer, but he passed me one of those, and so I gotta give it a try. Give it a try.
I got a beer in my fridge that I want to try, but I'm scared.
I have no beer right now, so I'm kind of empty-handed right now. I just finished up my book.
No, say it's not so.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Hey, Gene, aren't you thinking about going back to school?
Yeah, I mentioned that. Taking some classes. Yeah. I'm taking some classes. Working in the medical. What was that? What you got there, drunken one? Was that
Rodeo Clown by Carbach out of Houston? It's the Rodeo Clown Double IPA.
I've had that beer. That beer's good.
It is a good beer, yeah.
Oh,
and one more real quick. How about this one here? St. Arnold's Pub Crawl?
No, but I've had a lot of St. Arnold's beers.
Yeah, St. Arnold, this is a good one too. I kind of was digging on that. It's a pale ale, that one.
Now see, Jean, if I could get Jean to move to New Orleans, I could get him to go to Southern University in New Orleans and get him a scholarship and help him go to college for free and get that bachelor's degree.
Yeah, I got associates. I need to get that bachelor's degree because the gig I'm doing is, I was telling Eric, it's a long, complicated story. But anyway.
What degree are you trying to get?
Huh?
What degree are you trying to get?
I have a degree, associate degree in business administration. I was speaking to my mother. She asked me, told me, hey, why don't you get into the medical field? It's solid. It's it's durable. You can do, you can always get something quickly, real fast.
I want to talk to you offline about that because I'm not kidding. I think you could probably get like 2 years free, or practically free. No joke.
What? So you're going to go be in nursing?
Doing some medical coding and billing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That's a very specialized degree.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'm trying to determine whether I want to get my master's or not.
Yeah.
I've got a master's degree.
I just don't know the field I'm going to go into. I would need it.
I've got a master's degree in history. So if you ever need something, information about the Holy Roman Empire, just call me up.
But or better yet, Jay, watch the video, right?
Or
watch the videos.
Or watch the video.
Right. What are you going to do with that degree? I mean, it just seems like something that it's either there's not a real market for that information. What are you going to do with that?
What information?
Yeah, the whole the Roman Empire stuff. So you going to become a teacher or something? I don't take me wrong. I'm just saying that's great that you know that, but is that is there money in it?
Oh well. Oh, well, actually, I used to be a teacher. I retired from teaching. I taught.
Oh, okay.
I taught high school. You know, I taught for 22 and a half years, and I used to teach classes for the for Southern University and for Southeastern Louisiana University. So I taught history. I used to teach history at night, and I mean, 20 years ago it was $48 an hour. I don't know what it is now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm in the wrong business. No, I had no idea. I didn't know that. Yeah, so it doesn't just pay. It already has paid. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, I already got paid.
Yeah, definitely.
So
with benefits. No, nothing wrong with that. That's cool.
Yeah, so I retired. I retired at age 44, and I get paid every month. I get a check every month.
From TRS?
Sean's having a little nervous breakdown there. Now,
from TRS?
Teachers Retirement System of Louisiana. That's right.
Oh, yeah. I just muted Sean as he was about.
But I started teaching when I was real young. Like I went to college and I graduated in 3.5 years. So I started teaching when I was 21.
Holy shit!
Wow.
I mean, I had students that was almost as old as me.
Yeah, right. And so, what did they do to get good grades?
They
sent you a peer review.
I'm sorry, I took that a different direction, didn't I?
Oh.
Oh, I'll be right back.
What's that? Don't stand so close to me. How's that? What's that song? You know, where the teacher, where the students were hot for the teacher, and if you were the same, you know, you were along the same age. Remember that? How's it go?
Right, that was from 1980, I think. The Police.
Yeah, exactly. Don't stand so close. Whatever the name is. Yeah.
Did you all know that the Melbourne brewer East Ninth is leading the charge for hemp beers?
Oh boy, we need that.
Melbourne Craft Beer Company Ninth Brewery says it has perfected trial batches of what it claims is Australia's first hemp beer as it prepares to emulate North American brewers ahead of a legislative green light earmarked for November. And yes, this must be Australian news here. The company, which is owned by 3 entrepreneurs, which the names don't matter, along with 4 other small shareholders, have used kilograms of hemp seeds in the brewing process to come up with a flavor.
You know what? I think if people want to be topical and edgy, like, you know, all these companies want to be edgy. I've talked about that. Hey, why don't they have opioid beer? Let's be edgy. Opioid.
Really take the pain away.
Yeah, right.
Don't like soft pedal it and say, oh man, we have hemp beer. Man, that is so 1971. Get out of here with that hemp beer. You want to be bad? You bad? You a bad beer company? You a naughty beer company? You're like the anti-hero. Why don't they have heroin beer? You know?
I gotta say this. Average Joe just said, "What a seg by Eric." It goes from the police don't stand close to me to hemp beer. Solid.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad he got off of that other questionable and uncomfortable topic.
Yeah, but they like to say this company is saying, quote, where is it? Quote, it's really distinctive. It's a unique nutty flavor, a bit smoky and a little bit creamy.
All right, but does it have THC? Or are you going to get high off of it? It says
here, the company, one of 400 craft brewers in a $740 million segment of the broader beer category, is eyeing a November start for the product. Federal and state ministers gave in-principle agreement in April for low THC hemp seeds to be used in foods. Ooh. And the various states are in the process of making changes, which are expected to be ratified by mid-November. And again, this looks like it's mostly the Australian beer news that I'm seem to be talking about here.
I'm not caught up in the drug culture, you know, but if they made, and I don't like those drug beers, but if they made an opioid beer, you would always know who was like hooked on drinking it, because they would have some
opioid addiction.
Yeah, they would have like a Black Widow tattoo on their face. They would have like a Black Widow tattoo on their face, and they would always like
a Black Widow.
they would never bathe, and then they would like always be like.
How are you gonna be so stereotypical? That's so wrong.
And they would go around like asking people for money, and stuff.
I have not endorsed this. Nope, not me. They might go around asking for money though, but I have not endorsed this.
I mean, I'm joking around, but opioid addiction is bad news. I'm just kidding. But I mean,
the president's
like with pills, prescription pill problem. People need a fix.
Oh,
I mean,
that's the worst problem. Yeah, it's the ones that don't need those drugs, and they go to the doctor, and the doctor is more like just the drug dealer to them, and they're getting it legal, and it's written out.
It's going to help you with your pain.
The article also goes on.
Eric wants to talk about beer, not drug addiction.
The article also goes on to talk about. It says here, quote, a string of medical cannabis stocks trade on the ASX, which must be the Australian Stock Exchange, and it has become a major industry in the United States with some crazy stockbroker guy outlining earlier this year that the particular segment has become a $4.7 billion industry. and the guy that runs this company called Hemp Foods, he says hemp has had many characteristics of a, quote, superfood, and he expects strong demand to build after November because of the high levels of amino acids, proteins, and omega-3/omega-6 fatty acids.
Well, I mean, they got to do something with all the seeds because they're growing the stuff for medical use, and so they got to do something with the seeds. So that's just kind of a waste, and so it's a wasted product. So it's good they're doing something with it. I don't know if we need to have that in our beverages necessarily, but
what you got, John?
Hot for teacher. Average Joe said,
You're on mute, John.
Average Joe said maybe Van Halen's Hot for Teacher is more appropriate.
John,
oh yeah, there you go. Right, Hot for the Teacher. Right, that one works too.
I have that.
That one works too.
I have that album.
If John unmutes himself, he can add to this discussion.
I don't know. He gave us the finger. It was the index, but he gave us the finger a while ago, and I kept chatting.
Ooh, no.
Hey.
Wrong finger.
What you got, John?
Well, nothing really. I just did a review earlier of the PC pills by Founders.
Any good?
The video, it was good. The video was interesting, let's put it that way. It had some interruptions, phone calls, and having to closing the door so I won't get interrupted. And then the phone call started coming, and all I know is that I'm going to be posting the video this evening, and it should pop up, and y'all will see it. So
a lot of videos I go straight to the poor, but not Jean-Pierre's videos because they always got some kind of like interesting little incidences throughout the videos.
Oh yeah.
I never go straight to the point. And Jean-Pierre's funny, like when you watch his videos, he's like, oh,
hold on.
I can't take it.
5 seconds.
Right?
It's all good.
Like yourself in a room or something.
I did the one review I did was a beer by New Belgium. And I did it early in the morning about doing it, and all of a sudden here comes Daviana, comes in, and it's like, Poppy, I was like, damn. And then she tried to give me some candy that she had in her room and feed it to me. I had to, I couldn't post that video on YouTube, on Facebook, particularly when there was a kid there. I said, man, screw it, so I deleted it, and I said, I'm going to redo it again.
That's why I like watching Jean's videos. He gets so exasperated. That's what I wanted to say. His videos are like an exploration in levels of exasperation. He's always seen it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do the same thing because I got my neighbors across the street that watch me. They spy on me and they say, oh, look, he's making a video. Hurry up. Go get the power equipment. Start it up,
Yeah.
Right. Go get your chainsaw.
Why would someone want to do a damn beer review? What's wrong with drinking Bud Light? That's the greatest beer ever.
Here you go.
Drinking Miller. No, there are other beers out there.
Here's a good segue. Just found an article here. It says it's on sltrib.com, which is a Salt Lake City website, I believe. Here, the headline says, "quote Utah drinkers like cheap beer and boxed wine, but more are getting fired up about craft brews and premium liquor. Barton vodka, Icehouse beer, and boxed wines are among the top-selling liquors, they say on this article. And they
in Utah?
Yeah, Utah. They say the sales figures include purchases made by consumers as well as restaurants and bars at the 45 state-run liquor stores and 100-plus package agencies like ski resorts in small towns. While a portion of Utah's residents and lawmakers are members of the Mormon Church, which teaches to avoid alcohol, liquor is still big business in Utah. They say during the past year, which this article came out a few hours ago, the Salt Lake Tribune is what it says here. The DABC, whatever that stands for, collected more than $427 million in alcohol sales, an increase of $21.3 million or 5.3% from the previous year. And they say for spirits, Barton vodka is the top-selling spirit in Utah. The number of bottles sold and dollars collected. They sold 588 plus million bottles, which brought in $4.3 million. Jack Daniel's whiskey brought in $2.37 million in sales. Patron Silver, 2.2, and Smirnoff, 2 million. They say that the sales of flavored whiskeys are up, like the candy-like spirits. They're down. Fireball is up, though, more than 1.7 million. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out here. They don't really mention a whole bunch about the beers yet. They just say that it's Barton's, both in 735 milliliters and the big milliliter bottles. Taka vodka, Kamachka vodka, Fireball.
That's all Sazerac stuff. That's all Sazerac stuff. They must have some kind of connection to the Mormons or whatever.
They have wines. Wine is a Black Box Cabernet brought in the most money. They brought in equal to $952,557,000.
Yeah, Sazerac makes Fireball. Hey, but look, if you drive in Nevada on the interstate,
I found the beer. Go ahead.
If you drive in Nevada on the interstate going east towards Utah, like I did this once. I'm driving, and it says business route 80, which is the old U.S. Highway 40. So I got off, and I said, let me go to Utah. I'm going to Utah. So I get off, and when you're on the Nevada side of the highway, there's liquor stores everywhere. Like you never seen so many liquor stores. And casinos, and it's like a big town. And then it says, welcome to Utah. And it got like one store and nothing else.
I found
cigarettes in Virginia.
I found the beer information in Utah here. They say Icehouse beer, which costs more than $1 a bottle, also remains the most popular beer or cider. They're listing beer and cider under beer.
Is there like some alcohol law in Utah? Like
no, they're just listing it. They don't know how to categorize it otherwise, so they're listing it as both. And they say so. It's about for Icehouse beer. It's about 1.1 million bottles sold. And this had to have been last year.
That is the ABV of what they sell it, whether it be 5.5, 5.9.
They're real strict.
Isn't Icehouse like an 8% something, 8.4 or something? Am I wrong?
No.
And then they say that was about 1.3 million in sales. They also say here that Squatter's Hop Rising Double IPA was second.
That's a great beer. That's
selling 895,132 bottles because the craft brew made in Salt Lake City. Because the craft brew made in Salt Lake City is $1.99 per bottle, it brought more revenue, about 1.7. They also list two other Utah-made brews: Red Rock Brewery's Elefino IPA and Squatter's Hop Rising in a can. Also made the top 10 sales. Let's see here. The top I'm going to go real fast here. And this is, let's see here. Which one do I want to do? I'll just do it by the numbers sold instead of the dollar signs. So I'm not even going to give you the units. I'm just going to go from 1 to 10 really fast. Icehouse beer, Squatter's Hop Rising Double IPA, Busch Ice Lager. Number 4 is Stella Artois in the 330 milliliter bottles. Pacifico is number 5. The Squatters Hop Rising Double IPA in the bottles is number 6. Number 2 was the cans. Number 7 is Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and 8 is the canned version of Pale Ale. Number 9 is a beer I don't get in my region, which is called Mickey's Malt Liquor. And then at number 10, with 250,188 units sold, is Angry Orchard Crisp Apple Hard Cider.
Yuck.
You got the yuppies.
Utah is very strict. Utah is very strict. They don't have very strict alcohol laws, just like Oklahoma. Those are like the 2 worst.
And Minnesota too. Minnesota as well.
They're pretty bad. Louisiana is so liberal. You know, we're liberal when it comes to alcohol. We're conservative when it comes to other things.
So here's what one person says here. They have a discussion kind of like on most of the news websites where you can kind of do
a little comment
section. One of them says here that that adults, well, one of the guys here basically says that adults that are leaving the predominant religion in Utah are now the new consumers of alcohol, and they're loving stuff like the flavored vodkas and fireballs. What one guy says, which is why you can see flavored, or why you can see something like Fireball making a comeback in Utah, because now there's a whole new market for alcohol drinkers that normally wouldn't drink alcohol because of the Mormon religion are now drinking alcohol because they're not religious anymore. That's what one guy says. I don't know if that's true or not, though. I doubt it.
It might be true. It might be true. You know, Fireball. I've never had that, but it's very popular around here.
I think it's
schnapps is all.
You see a lot of it in Texas, huh?
See a lot of it everywhere.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time.
Fireball is small bottles.
That big red chewing gum or the big.
Like cinnamon, kind of like a cinnamon taste to it.
Yeah. It's like one of those cinnamon discs or whatever. Yeah.
It doesn't even burn.
Eric.
Or like Hot Damn. Do y'all have Hot Damn there? It's a liquor Hot Damn.
I don't know about that one. Eric, I'm gonna pass the ball to Gary. I'm getting off of here, but good seeing Drunken One, Gary,
Peace, bro.
Jean-Pierre, Jonathan, and Eric, and all the comments. So bonsoir, mes amis.
Let the good times roll. How you say it?
All right.
What?
That's it. Yeah, there you go.
What did Eric just say? What was that?
Les Bon Ton Roulé.
Right.
This is a great beer.
Yeah, let the good times roll, baby. Yeah. Sweet. I mean, like, right?
In a Tetu glass.
That makes it taste a lot better.
All right. So long. Farewell. Avita saying goodbye. John's watching that NFL. I know what he's doing. That little sneak. Watching that preseason game.
Go Patriots.
Baseball. Kansas City, St. Louis.
How are the Patriots doing?
Him and Rajay both. They're sneaky like that.
Jacksonville is beating us. What?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Him and Rajay both.
All right. Welcome, Gary, to Massachusetts beer review discussion tonight.
Hey, Gary, what's up, man?
Not much, y'all.
What state do you live in, by the way?
Hang on just one second.
Sure.
All right, I live in Tennessee.
Sure. I was going to ask him about his state and what's big in his state for alcohol and beers and wines and spirits.
I will, but I got to hand something up to my wife. She's doing something upstairs, so I'll be back in just a
Will
second.
do. I'll ask Jean, because you seem to have lots of places to buy liquor in your town, right? Or beers. What's really big for liquors and spirits and wines and beer, whether it's craft or just premium?
Well, we're supposed to be coming up in August here in Mobile. We're going to be opening up a new brewery, / restaurant called Sereda, Serda. It's a coffee shop, but
nice.
And the coffee shop.
You said beer.
yeah, they sell beer, but they decided the owners decided they're going to open up a brewery. Now, the thing is, we had a couple of breweries here previously in Mobile that lasted not long. We had one that lasted for maybe about 5 years and left. We had another one that lasted from 2006 and ended in 2010. And that ended up leaving. 2007 ended up in 2010. That ended up leaving. You wonder if there's the commitment there. Will the folks come out? Obviously, a lot of breweries we have in the state, not just nearby in Fairhope, but also in other parts of the state, whether it be Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Gadsden, other spots where we're starting to get a bit of a good name now. Now, will the support be there? Will folks come and go and stay true and buy local? That remains to be seen. So as far as, I know we have a couple of vineyards here in the state. And I haven't tried any of their stuff yet. I know we have a couple of distilleries here, but I haven't tried any of their stuff yet. But in terms of the beers, some of the beers I've tried, and they're quite good. I could stand toe-to-toe with some of the other beers made in other states, whether it be Virginia, where you are, Eric, in Massachusetts, up in New York, this place, that place, Virginia, they're just as good. So, but and again, people are always going to stay true to what they saw their granddads or grandparents and their parents drinking as kids,
legacy beers.
Legacy beers. And they're going to stay true to those, the High Lives and the Budweisers, Miller Lights.
Yeah, we're creatures of habit. Yeah, that's just what we do, right? If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
Yeah. So,
I mean, really, yeah.
And for me being a transplanter down here from New Jersey, obviously, the selections up there are more wider than down here, So, meaning that I can try this, but also I can try the legacy beers, a lot of them, and I can try the craft. I can try some of this and some of that.
Yep.
Because of the diversity of those areas that we live in, where you are, Eric, in Massachusetts, Gary, and being in Virginia. I know that's also like around Alexandria, near the D.C. area, and further down Norfolk, Virginia. There's a lot of Caribbean folks living in that area.
Sure.
So, and for me, and being from myself, being from Jersey, New York City, Philly. A lot of very diversity. We can try different things from different cultures, different ways. So,
Yep. So, I think I don't know hugely about the wine and the spirits. I do drink more of the spirits than the wine, but in Massachusetts, where I live about 30 or 35 minutes from the border of Rhode Island, so I feel like I'm very connected. Not so much with Connecticut itself, but I feel like with Massachusetts and Rhode Island, I feel very connected as far as those two states are concerned. Every year, it seems like there's a few new breweries that are opening up in the state of Rhode Island, which are really have been doing well. I think in Massachusetts, you're still seeing the Sam Adams as a really big brand name of beer. And I think, obviously, because of the way that IPAs are going in Massachusetts, that Treehouse is still the thing. Trillium is still the thing. If you go up into New Hampshire, or not even New Hampshire, you go into Vermont, it's The Alchemist, Hetty Topper. It's Farm Hillstead, which is making similar kinds of beers. It's you go to Portland, Maine, you're getting Allagash. You're getting the Maine Beer Company, which I just bought a bottle of Maine Beer Company Lunch yesterday, which is a hard to come by beer. So when it comes out, you buy it. So New England as a whole, as most people in beer would know that follow craft beer, they just have really good beers that kind of either they start trends or they kind of are playing on trends and themes. I think I know we have vineyards and wineries around in New England, but they're usually not anything really highly touted about because we don't really, on the East Coast, we're not really able to do a lot of really good red wines. You got to almost go to warmer climates down south or to the West Coast and get the wines over there. I'm not really hugely into the spirit world, but I know, at least even in my household, and I see it at a lot of bars, the Tito's vodka has just been a thing, and I like Tito's vodka. That's pretty good for if you want a really great tasting vodka, but it doesn't taste cheap and you're not spending a lot of money. Tito's is probably a good way to go. We do have some craft distillers here and there, but not a lot that make the good bourbons and whiskeys. There is a company down on the coastline of Rhode Island called Sons of Liberty that does a lot of really good bourbons and whiskeys and, you know, white lightning kind of spirits. And even one of the breweries called the Bucket Brewery is in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. They even took one of the Sons of Liberty whiskey barrels and aged an imperial stout out of it. So what's really cool about New England and the way they do things is they like to reuse and recycle, not even just being green and hippie and the opposite of this color, but they like to support each other, and that's exactly what we need in these at least in this kind of industry that's so social oriented. Because what I really, really like about being in this community is not just drinking a beer and going, oh, I drank a beer, I got some alcohol in me. It's a really fun way to interact socially and hang out with people. So I think New England's got that whole beer scene and liquor and wine spirit world going on. And I think more so than anything, that's what makes New England kind of New England. But there's my rant. I might have gone off the rails.
No, that's good. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, what you're saying is true. Yeah, we need to all gather together, and beer is the lubrication that makes the conversations more interesting. Yeah, no, what you said makes perfect sense.
How about where you live on the Drunken One? What's kind of the big brands where you live?
I don't get out so much. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, I showed you a couple of them. Karbach is one of our bigger ones down here, but then again, they got. I mean, if you're all about the AB buy-ups and stuff, they're part of AB. What I can say about that is just so they don't change the recipe. We're all good. I don't care. Just so nobody loses their job because they're gonna put a bunch of machines in to take humans' places. I don't care. Business is gonna happen. Everybody's gonna sell out at some point, no matter how true to your craft you really are. Because I'm a home brewer as opposed to a reviewer. If I got big, would I ever sell out? Damn straight I would. Yeah, but there'd have to be a big number. I'd like to say yes, I want to always own this and it's always going to be mine, but they're just going to say, okay, so 16 million. No. How about 17 million? No. 18 million. Maybe 19 million. Okay.
How much is it to retire, please, and thank you.
So, no, to answer your question, I have no idea what everybody else is drinking. I really don't frequent the bars very much.
Well, let's spin it this way. If it's beer, wine, or spirits, what do you tend to gravitate towards?
Yeah, I don't buy the big bottles like y'all do, and I don't buy those $12 bottles like y'all do. I'm a Samuel Adams fan. It doesn't take a lot to please me. I haven't tried a bunch of really, really good beers like y'all have. I'm not jealous. I'm just saying I don't have the budget for it really, but no.
Honestly,
and usually I don't buy beer at all. I buy grains and I make my own. But if I have to, the numbers you gave a while ago with the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, yes, that's always going to be a staple to craft beer or. Kind of in between craft beer as swaying the Bud Light drinkers into starting into craft beer. That's okay, and that's a good segue, kind of a segue or a different word for it. But anyway, that's going to maybe move them into that.
A gateway.
I like to try it. I like the gate. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. It's a good gateway beer to get you into something that is not watered down. It's okay to drink Miller Lite. It's okay to drink Bud Light. It's okay to drink Keystone Ice and whatever else. So you want it. There's a time and place for everything, and I don't choose to drink those so much anymore, but I still buy Busch from time to time. You know, I like hams. You know, I like hams. I'll drink some hams. It's all good. I'm a beer lover. I'll drink it all. I don't care.
Excellent. So,
I spoke.
I sent you a message. All right,
Gary and John are in Virginia. Okay. All right, he's got to go. Gary, you're in Virginia. What do you
Tennessee?
What do you see where you live? Okay. What do you see where you live in the beer or liquor or wine big brands or the big names that people like to buy, or what do you like to buy?
Well, a little bit of everything, really. I mean, down in this part of Tennessee, it's northeastern Tennessee, so we're a lot like Virginia. Anything you want, you can get, because this area is called the Tri-Cities. There's Kingsport, Tennessee, Johnson City, Tennessee, and then Bristol, Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee. So in this part, normal beer, malt liquor, high-gravity lager, high-gravity malt liquors, lots of different wines, lots of different spirits. I mean, anything you want.
Yeah.
That's good.
And for me, I'm not very picky. I only just became of legal drinking age a couple years ago, so I'm just trying different things, seeing what's out there, what I like, what I don't like, etc.
In the Basement says, I would say a penis joke, but I'm a little short in inventory. All right, thank you, In the Basement. That had nothing to do with our discussion, but all right, Randy.
No. Well, yeah, I said something about just yoking, and I said that was an egg joke.
Oh, okay.
And he said, it's terrible.
Okay, brother.
And I say, there's 10,000 starving comedians, and I'm trying to be funny.
I got it now.
Yeah, so you have to read up in the comments a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, okay. And then Joe D said, for me, when it comes to the New England stuff, he says, Eric, correct for the answer for Massachusetts is Trillium and Treehouse. Am I right? And I'm like, yeah, definitely right. Yeah, it seems you can even pick in certain times, in certain aspects in the craft beer community, that certain regions of the country even dictate or even have started certain beer trends. It seems like IPAs have just been the thing, but they really are the thing. At one point in time, I think everybody was really, really, really into the West Coast IPAs. And I remember at one point in time when Sculpin IPA from Ballast Point was the IPA that everybody had to get, and it was a really hard and difficult thing to get. And now you can practically find Sculpin wherever IPAs and craft beer is sold, and you're not even having to, jump through hoops to find it, which is just a testament to how I think Ballast Point has done their marketing, their merchandising, and their distribution, because they're anywhere you can find a really good, decent craft beer selection, you're going to find Ballast Point, which, again, that's a testament to them. And I think as more people are, I shouldn't say as more people are starting to, but as more people drink these New England style IPAs, there's going to be more breweries that come out and want to try to make those kind of beers that are going to fall in line with that trend that's now. And, beer trends are just going to be the nature of the industry, and because if it's making, again, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's making somebody money, why in the royals of hell wouldn't you get into that market and that, and into that kind of a beer style and try to get some of those people to drink your beer? Now, the only thing that really bothers me, the only couple of things that really bother me as far as the New England and those juicy IPAs are concerned is you don't really find them everywhere throughout the country. You're going to have to trade for them if you really, really, really want them. And if you do find them, say they're in like these, not 12 ounces, but say they're in 16-ounce cans, you're going to be paying like $13, $14, maybe $15 for a 4-pack of them. And how much, you know, does the average Joe either A, really want to spend on a beer like that, or really how much is the average Joe really interested in a beer like that? Is there anybody that drinks just, you know, Miller Lite that, say, Treehouse Brewery can try to market a really highly sought after beer too? And I don't think that that's even the kind of a marketplace that they're even looking at is the macro lager beer drinker. But I could be wrong. They could.
You know, most of the times, Eric, I think that's basically what it is. I think when these breweries and you go to the stores, you look at, you know, just go to the supermarkets. You just see who's buying those beers. And when you see a lady getting a 6-pack of Sierra Nevada, or a guy getting a 6-pack of, and she's dressed to the nines, looking very lovely and pretty, you know, real nice, curvy, curvaceous, you know, high heels.
Hey, that's a different story. That's a different.
Yeah, she's getting a 6-pack.
Getting too hot and heated right now.
Yeah, she's getting a 6-pack of Sierra Nevada, or maybe what the beer you just had, or the guy in the suit, you know, he's getting that, then getting that 6-pack of, or a 12-pack, or the 24-pack or 30-pack of Hams or Miller Lite, whatever. You know, for the weekend. For the weekend, so they can hang out and just chill.
30 beers for one week.
Exactly. You know,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, either or, but you know who they are, what they're spending, what their money. With me, I'm going in, thankfully, and I think we all would agree that there are singles out there. You can try these craft beers instead of buying the 6-pack, because some of us, budget-wise, don't got the funds to get a 6-pack or a 12-pack of, or 4-pack of Dogfish, or Chimay or whatever, or even, anything from Oscar Blues, 1050.
Not to cut you off there really quickly, but if you even wanted, you said Dogfish. If you wanted to try a 120-minute IPA from Dogfish Head, or if you wanted to try Worldwide Style from Dogfish Head, you'd be paying, like $9.99 for a 12-ounce bottle, and if you wanted a 4-pack of it, it's $40. Who's gonna pay?
Exactly. Who's gonna pay that? Yeah, who's gonna pay? I mean, I said, look, the 60-minute IPA. I think a 12-pack is like what? Almost $16 for a 12-pack, around there.
But yeah, somewhere around there.
You know, and I'm sure if your friends, you look at the person who's gonna buy this and say, okay, I'm enjoying this weekend. Okay, great. But you're not gonna pay that. I said, I don't think I'm maybe gonna get that for myself again. I'm gonna go to what I know that I can afford on my wallet, and I know Hams, Miller Lite, and this is it. I'm not dissing those folks, but if you got the funds to get the 12-pack, great, God bless you. But I know I don't got the funds to get it, so I'm not dissing you. So don't look down on me.
No,
exactly. I'm not looking down on you. And if I get the single, I'm happy. So
I think we've said it a lot of the time here on this channel, and I just want to make a mention really quick before I get to my comment. We have a a viewer named Bart Robinson that says, another great get together, guys. So thank you, Bart Robinson, for the kind comment.
Thank you. Yeah. Very nice.
And I lost my train of thought there immensely. Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember what I was going to say. There is we've said it a lot of times, I know, and I'm going to say between Louisiana Beer Reviews, between Rajay's Beer Ventures, between Albino Rhino, maybe not so much, but between at least Rajay and especially Ronald the Riot there, Louisiana Beer Reviews, and I know John says it a lot, and we all do too, is that these kind of beers like Miller Lite, even if you put it in a Teku glass to be fancy as fuck or something, they got a time and a place. And even though I say they got a time and a place and they're perfectly placed on the market,
sure,
it's not like it's something that I'm not going to drink. Because for me, and I've said it a lot myself, I'd rather have a beer like this that has a pretty nice flavor for a light lager, but it doesn't have a lot of flavor. I'd rather it do those things than it to have a really bad, nasty flavor.
Right.
I'd rather have a little amount of flavor than a lot of nasty flavor.
Exactly. No, that's a good point. Yeah, around here, some of our gas stations have like the walk-in coolers, and they have all the craft beers up there, and you can build your own 6-pack, and it's like $9.99. You build your own 6-pack, so that gives you a chance to get even pretty locally. You know, I think I won't name the name of the gas station anyway. It's well known, and there's a bunch of them. So no matter what part of town you're in, you're usually pretty close to one. But you can stop in and you can try the St. Arnold, you can try the Karbach, you can get the Fat Tire, you can try some craft beers that maybe you've tried and like, or maybe you haven't tried at all. There you go, some Fat Tire, right? Exactly. And so New Belgium, all right. Then so you're able to try them, and before you end up buying a whole 6-pack of something that you really didn't care for, you know. Yeah, so I'm digging on that, and yeah, drink what you want, man. Drink what you want. There's nothing there's nothing wrong with some the Miller Lite, the Bud, the Busch, the whatever you might like.
It wouldn't have been a thing on the marketplace for as long as it was if people weren't drinking it. Now, granted, the other side, the devil's me playing the red shirt devil's advocate side of the Target employee, right? The devil's advocate side of things is going to say, well, if there isn't any craft beer in the marketplace at the time when beers like what I'm drinking were developed, then how can you say that that you have an actual choice in what you want to drink? It's either going to be these premium macro lagers, or you're not going to be drinking beer, right?
The way I look at it is, I think the brewers they've trained us to drink watered down beers that are full of the adjunct lagers. Now, again, I drink them myself, so don't put me in that spot. I'm just saying that, and I'm no historian or whatever, but they made it to where it's not offensive to males or females. And then back in the like in the early 80s or whatever, and then they brought in the sports figures to say, well, yeah, I drink that light beer too, and so, well, yeah, if Joe Namath drinks that beer, well, it's good enough for me, you know. And so I think they've just trained us as Americans to be able to drink something that's, again, I'm a home brewer, so they've watered it down. They put a bunch of stuff in there that doesn't cost a lot, and they've said this is what you should drink, and they've just kind of trained us to enjoy something that doesn't cost a lot to brew, and they're making a shitload of money doing it, you know. And so I'm not, again, there's nothing wrong with that product, but I'm just saying it's good that we all are a little we're a little adventurous in the sense that we're looking for a bigger flavor. We're willing to spend a little more money for it, and we're willing to try different things, and I think that's great. Anyway, that's my feeling on the whole thing. Is I think they've actually trained us to be all right with beer that's fairly watered down and full of corn and rice. Where to me, beer shouldn't have a bunch of corn and rice in it. I mean,
yeah,
myself, I just again, I drink the stuff myself, and I'm cool with it. You know, I just drank it.
Talks about I think Anheuser-Busch, it could be Miller, but one of those two companies talks about the fact that the adjuncts that they use in a beer like this, if you can overly taste the adjunct that they're using in the beer, then they're brewing the beer incorrectly. Because you're not supposed to taste a huge, whole, big presence of a adjunct in these kind of beers. That's not the purpose of what they're doing.
Exactly. But grains are way more expensive than corn or rice, and so they're saving a lot of money, and they're producing just so much beer. So if they're even saving, you know, $5 a batch, you know, whatever, it all adds up because they're producing so much of it. You know. I drink it too. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all good. I'm just saying.
What you got on that one, Gary? Got anything to add to that, Gary?
He's muted.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have anything to add to the
what I said?
Discussion of, you know, there's a merit to drinking a light beer or a macro beer, even if you're a craft beer drinker.
Yes, there is. One of the yeah, because she was getting ready to say something. I was like, hang on.
It's like Jean-Pierre. Stop! I'm just trying to do this.
Anyway, yes, there is merit to drinking a mass-produced beer as compared to drinking a craft beer. If you like craft beer, drinking a macro beer, because there was an article, and Ron Terry had mentioned in one of his videos that in the beer drinking community, now there's like this trend of how this got started. I have no idea, but if you drink a macro lager, you are in line with this conspiracy that all adjuncts are just to cut corners and cut costs. But yet, if that was the case, has Budweiser always used rice as an adjunct to cut corners and cut costs of their beer? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So. There's a whole history of using adjuncts in beer brewing. So it's not this conspiracy by the big brewers to cut corners and cut costs. I don't buy that the least bit.
Yeah.
No, I think they've been brewing it the whole time that way, but they just made us think that we're getting the best beer ever. And so if you're the Budweiser drinker, and that's back when I was just drinking those kind of beers, that was pretty premium. Otherwise, I drank Busch, and then you might stop at the store and, hey, I'm gonna get me some Michelob. You know, and again, another one of their products, but it's a better beer. You know, it's just a better beer, if you ask me, anyway.
What's your thought on that, John?
Wait, there was one more thing I was wanting to add.
Oh, yes, Gary, go ahead.
I'm sorry,
if that's the case, then how come beers like Stella Artois, which costs like upwards of like $10 a 6-pack, whether you get the cans or the bottles,
$9 here.
Yeah.
If they use corn as an adjunct,
get ready to answer,
it
John.
Costs $9 a 6-pack. Then how is that cutting corners and cutting cost? I mean,
answer that, John.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know. And also, you could maybe look at possibly taxes. You know, each state what they want to what they're getting in terms of their.
I'll give you my brief 2 cents on that, and it's basically because. I mean, regardless of the fact if it's Beck's made in Baldwinsville, New York, or Bass made in Baldwinsville, New York, which people are trying to sue over that for various reasons, or one central reason, actually, not various. And the one central reason, though, the Beck's and the Bass is trying to get sued from the United States consumer is because they have international origins. Yes, those are international brands. Beck's is I don't know if they still are, but Beck's at one point in time was the highest selling beer in Germany. And Bass is a pale ale from the United Kingdom. But once they got acquired by Anheuser-Busch, we started brewing their beers. Not that you probably couldn't find them in America, but rarely you will find them in America, brewed in either Germany or the Bass in the United Kingdom. They're both, I believe, brewed in Baldwinsville, New York, and they're very plainly listed that way on their labeling. People just don't look. But my point is to talk about the import beers, and even if you have an import name like Bass and Beck's, it's just going to have a higher price tag to it because it's import. Just because it's imported and you have to.
Oh, right. No, I see what you're saying. Although it's produced here, the namesake is over there. So it seems as something that it was actually imported, although they're brewing it here.
We got Average Joe in the house. Average Joe.
Don't tell anybody. He's going to start talking. Yeah, import costs. I see in the comments.
Yeah, there. But I mean, I can understand why people would complain about Beck's and Bass, but they're not. I don't know if they did or didn't. I don't know that part of the information. But if I was to look at it in an objective standpoint, from an objective standpoint, I wouldn't think that as a judge I would, you know, be on the side of the consumers that are filing the lawsuits on Beck's and Bass, because if you look hard enough on the packaging,
you're going to see where it came from, right?
On the Beck's and on the Bass, they have a crest in a circle oval, kind of similar to this. And right around here, on the bottom half, is where it says "Brewed in Baldwinsville, New York," in pretty plain lettering.
Right, yeah.
But I get it. It shouldn't have to have that imported beer price to it if it's not imported. I get it.
No, that's a good point, right?
But that's why I think that a Stella beer is obviously at a higher price point than Miller or Light or something like that. In a techie glass. Woo.
Sneaky dogs. Right. What's up with Joe?
Take on that.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
How's it going?
Great.
I am doing okay. How about everyone else?
One of the things we were talking about earlier, and I do want to hear your thoughts on that.
Guys, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and go cut it. I gotta get up early.
I see how it is, John.
I'm seeing average Joe.
You see how it works, dude?
See how it is, John. No big deal, John. You have fun. You watch.
Frickin' Pierre, you know how he rolls. Have fun.
Preseason NFL is where it's at. Preseason NFL, I know. The Bills are looking like absolute shit.
Yeah.
Like usual.
All right, y'all. It's been fun.
Take care, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Adios.
Okay, so yeah, one of the things that we talked about was I found an article from the Salt Lake City Tribune that talked about the top selling alcohols, spirits, beers, and wines in that state, which is kind of crazy because most people are Mormons. And one person's thought on the article was, well, maybe now that newly reformed religious people that are now not a part of religion are now buying alcohol because it's frowned upon in the Mormon religion to drink alcohol. Now they're contributing to the sales of alcohol. I'm wondering for New York State, or the part of that state where you live in, what's the big selling spirits, alcohol, wine, beers, macro or craft?
I'm not going to pretend to know.
Yep.
Outside of,
come on, Joe, you can do it. You can pretend. Come on.
I can make up a very elaborate story if you want me to, but I won't, because I'd be doing everyone a disservice. But I know in my area, in the Western New York area, so that basically includes Buffalo, New York, out to Rochester, New York, and then to the southern tier, even Lakewood, New York, which some people might be familiar with, Southern Tier Brewing Company. That's where they're from. They're actually included in the Western New York area. But as far as like what is the big selling beer around here, I will tell you what, man. People around here cannot get enough of Labatt Blue, of all things. I'm telling you, from Labatt Blue to Labatt Blue Light, we are one of the few places that I know of. I think Michigan might be the same way. A lot of the border states to Canada seemingly have interest in Labatt Blue and Molson and things of that nature. But here we even get like Labatt Blue Radlers that Canada doesn't even see. I'm talking grapefruit Radlers, orange Radlers. They sell them in mix packs. Actually, I was at a local grocery store here called Wegmans, and they had a mixed 12-pack of Radlers. I believe it was grapefruit Labatt Blue Radler, Labatt Blue Lime, and then another Radler that's slipping my mind. But it was like, wow. And I tell someone like the Albino Rhino, who can buy stuff around there or in the basement, or people that live in Canada, and they're like, "Well, I've never seen that. I don't know what you're talking about." So we're actually, Labatt Blue is so like ingrained in the community here. They're opening up a brew pub in downtown Buffalo, I think later this year, earlier next, where they're going to brew craft beers. Like they're going to have a craft beer area. It's kind of like the Genesee, where they have the Genesee brew house right next door to the actual production facility. They're going to kind of do the same thing where they're brewing craft beers, but they're also, I want to say they're going to also be brewing Labatt Blue here now. But yeah, people can't get enough Labatt Blue. I'll tell you that much, which is crazy.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop off here. I'm going to do my review tonight. I'm doing Hurricane.
Oh, hell yeah, the Hurricane.
Big beer.
I've had that. Those are okay.
Excellent.
I've done the high gravity, but I haven't done regular Hurricane yet.
Okay, yeah.
Excellent.
I found this on the road trip I had to take yesterday. They have them for like $2.29 a 40 in Virginia on a Kroger on Main Street in Blacksburg, the town of Virginia Tech's in. However, I know another place where I can get this. We found it here in Tennessee. I have to go all the way to Pigeon Forge to find this in Tennessee.
No, it's pretty common around here. Yeah, you see those in bottles, cans. Yeah.
The Hurricane High Gravity, you can find it anywhere down here in tall cans, 16-ounce cans, and the 40-ounce bottles. But Hurricane, it's nowhere to be seen or heard of in this area. I have called the distributor, gone to different stores, cannot find this anywhere. But in Pigeon Forge, which is, since I live here in northeastern Tennessee now, it is an hour. It's an hour to the exit and like another hour just to get in because of all the traffic.
Oh, hell. Wow.
So right off the exit, there's I think it's a Shell or a Marathon or the Exxon. They sell the 40s of Hurricane and Hurricane High Gravity right beside of each other. And they also sell King Cobra.
Oh, right. Wow. The old King Cobra. Yeah. Some Schlitz malt liquor. Depends on what hood you're in is what you can find.
I'm on the hunt for Schlitz because that's the one I want to try the most. I've tried all the other malt liquors, but I haven't had Schlitz yet.
What? Oh my Jesus! All right.
Yeah, I've had all the.
Really? Okay. Oh,
I've had both Old Englishes, the regular and the high gravity. Yeah. I've had Colt 45, the Colt 45 high gravity. I know where the double malt is. William Kepley told me where to find that at. So whenever I go to North Carolina again, I'm going to pick that up. I've had Mickey's. I haven't had Mickey's Ice. I've had the Steel Reserve 211, the 6%.
Oh, dude, the 211s are around here all the time.
I've also had the 8.1% in the silver and black cans. Had Hurricane High Gravity, King Cobra. What else have I had? And I've had some pretty disgusting malt liquors like Earthquake High Gravity, 10%.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'll never buy that again.
I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah.
The distribution on that one is limited. That's a La Crosse, Wisconsin City Brewing product. So you may see it, you may not. I think the distribution cutoff line is, I don't think they distribute it on past Kentucky and Virginia because I have not seen it in Tennessee.
Okay. All right. Huh.
Oh, cool.
All right. Let's give her a whiz. Crack that tab. You get labels out, baby.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to do on the video. So I'll be back here in a little bit.
All right. Labels out and ting, 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 ting.
Yep, label up.
There you go. That's the sound.
All right, I'll be back here in a little bit if y'all are still on. Probably be like 10, 15 minutes while I do this review. Cool. My mouse will cooperate. There we go.
Hey, I thought I was cracking the top. What happened?
Oh, he's gonna go live, baby.
Go what? He's starting a new thing?
He's going to review that beer.
Yo, okay. How's it going?
What's up, guys?
It's going. So, what state are you from, Chris?
I'm in the state of Canada.
Excellent.
It's a huge fucking state.
It's the 52nd
Can you tell us
state.
in the area of Canada that you live in, what's the big beers, wines, and spirits that people seem to buy?
I live down the street from Joe.
Yeah, but all of them.
All of them.
About all of them.
I'm in Niagara Falls, Ontario.
So whatever you can get your hands on, basically.
Yeah, right now I'm drinking a Lake of Bays Sparkhouse Red Ale.
Oh, that's shit.
Yep, you're right.
Cool. That's real cool.
It is shit. It's the first time I'm drinking it, and I'm not liking it.
Because it's shit.
Because it's shit.
You don't know unless you try. It's all good. You gotta put your mouth on it at some point. Right.
That's what you say, Jargon, until you realize Lake of Bays, they make shit.
Is it that bad? Yeah. Okay. Right. Is it at least inexpensive to where you weren't out a lot to try?
This was a $2.95 can Canadian.
It's a big can though. What is it?
Yeah, it's a 473 ml.
Okay, yeah. Well, all right. So you're not out too much. $3. Damn it. Yeah, that sucks. You never know.
Yeah, that's about. Yeah, it's a little under $2. It's $2.31 American dollars. So I guess the dollar has gone down since 2013.
Basically, if you go up there, I learned that if you go up there and you you have a toonie, you basically can buy the entire province, more or less. Right, Chris?
Oh,
maybe a couple,
right? Yeah,
maybe a couple toonies. I don't know.
Let me tell you something. I went to the grocery store and I looked at a 4-pack of Corona cans at $15 Canadian.
Yeah.
Ouch.
4-pack.
Ouch.
Yeah, the Canadians they have they get really raked over the coals when it comes to macro beers. So that's one thing. When you go up to Canada, you realize why so many Canadians come down here and buy macro beers by the case.
Yeah.
I think I would say like the cheapest macro beer up there, you're talking like for a case in the high 30s, low 40s, and you're talking the cheapest. So, I mean,
a case of Budweiser here is $43.
Yeah.
Holy shit! No way.
Now
28 actually. Around that.
For 28 beers?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's over the case. Okay, yeah, but $40.
But here you buy a case of Budweiser, it's like less than $1 per beer. That's the crazy.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
ridiculous. I go over to Walmart in the States and I'm coming back with, a case of Coors Light for $14.99. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow.
But the one misconception is that craft beer is, more expensive in Canada, and it's not. It's on the same playing field, I'd say, same level. It just depends on what brewery you go to, and
Well,
the macro stuff, you guys just dominate in price. That's
yeah, for sure.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Right. The craft beer prices are about
the other way around in Canada. The craft beer is much cheaper over there.
Well, I wouldn't say much cheaper.
I wouldn't say it's much cheaper. But I mean, if you go to a place that does a can release, all right. So I'm drinking a Canadian craft beer too. This is from Great Lakes Brewery, not the one in Cleveland, Ohio. No, this is from the one in Etobicoke, Ontario. So this is the Great Lakes Brewery, not the brewing company. This is their Apocalypse Later. It's a Imperial Black IPA. I believe it is 10%. I want to say this Canadian, I think, ran the guy who picked it up for me and gave it to me, Greg. I think it was somewhere like around $4 or $5.
Yeah.
For 10% Imperial Black IPA in Canadian, I mean, if you were to do the exchange rate, that's probably like a $350 American can. That's a great deal.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
For a tall boy of 10% beer. I mean,
right. That's pretty fair.
There are some places that, like any other place, in the States, there's places that price gouge and, will charge extreme amounts, exorbitant amounts just because they can, because their name. So, I mean, it's very similar from that aspect. Just the macro is where it gets kind of lost.
Yeah, that's messed up. Cause we pound down the macros, but I mean, to say $9 for a 4-pack if it's a 10% Imperial Stout, that's pretty fair in my opinion. Again, I don't buy those $12 bottles like y'all do. You're getting 500 mils and spending $10-12 for it. It's just not my price range.
I mean, in Canada, it doesn't like, for example, if I head over to, I don't know, let's say Niagara on the Lake. If I head over to the brewery there, one of them in there, it's called the Exchange Brewery. I mean, their 750 mil bottles are like almost $10-11 for whatever, and that's at the brewery. I mean, that's just outrageous prices because they back them for the tourists. That's all they do, right? And this
but you also have to look at it like this. You're talking a 750 milliliter bottle, which equates to, I think, 25.4 ounces.
Yep.
So you're basically drinking the equivalent of 2 12-ounce cans or bottles. $10-11. I mean, it's a little expensive, but I mean, there's places here in this. I mean, I'm not going to because I don't want to bore everyone to death, but there are so many places in the States and even just in my state of New York that every day I see beers that are way more expensive than that. It all depends on, there's a lot of factors. The hype behind a beer, how well they sell.
People lining up outside.
Well, just how into it's like anything else, market value, right? Like the demand of a beer is going to decide whether it sells at what price point people are willing to pay. I was going to ask Eric or kind of get, I guess, justification of what I was going to say, but he said be right back. But he has breweries by him like Trillium and Treehouse, which are very well known in the craft beer circles as, you know, making extremely well-made beer that tastes good. But you go to these breweries, and the average price for a 4-pack now is seemingly anywhere from the $16 to like $24 range, depending on the ingredients, depending on the style, depending on the ABV, a bunch of stuff. But you know, you're talking going to the brewery itself and paying $4 to5 for a 16-ounce can at the brewery. For some people, I'm never going to do that because I can go get so-and-so at my local store for $5 a 6-pack. And there's other people that go, I'd pay $10 a can because I love this stuff. It's in the eye of the beholder, right?
It is indeed. I just
I have the beer holder.
As a home brewer, and yes, they're putting out way different beer than what I am, and they put a lot of technology into it, and they're looking at water chemistry. Shipyard, all right, that's cool.
Smash pumpkin this time of year.
They know what the hell they're doing, but it really doesn't take that much to produce beer, no matter how good it is, and the ingredients just don't cost that much. Yes, there's a lot of technology and a lot of people that they're having to pay for, and a lot of overhead and this and that and the other, but you're talking about $12 for, you know, less than 26 ounces of beer. That just seems really damn high, you know. I mean,
Truckin', when you gotta look at it like this too. I mean, a lot of these places are doing, you know, the big I guess buzz phrase nowadays is double dry hopped, and a lot of these places are getting now they're fucking harder to get hops like the Mosaic and Citra and Galaxy and Eldorado and these hard to get hops that are expensive, and then they're using, you know, hundreds of pounds of them and dry hopping and the double dry hopping, and
but I mean look at how much they're producing. I get that, but look how much they're producing. I mean, just maybe I need to do some more math on it, but that's still, I mean, that's a lot of damn money. I know hops are like $3.50 for like an ounce. And so, yes, if you're putting hundreds of pounds in there, okay, but how many gallons are they making? And really, you're talking about one big bottle of beer. Is it really worth $12? And how many bottles come out of that huge vat that they're producing? And I don't know.
But again, you have to look at it too.
From what they're doing, and I can appreciate the craftsmanship they put into it, but holy crap, that just seems so expensive.
It's almost like anything else that you see. If let's say the Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
Sports Illustrated. Gonna have this. Let's just say it happens.
Is this a fairy tale, or we thought we're talking?
We're talking about hypothetical here, just for my purposes. And then Sports Illustrated is going to run this. Is going to run this article, or going to run this magazine, and they're going to have some commemorative little pin or something, and they're going to have a DVD for. And it's all going to be for a limited time. And if you don't have, it's going to be gone forever. And that's one of the things I think that a lot of these breweries, or at least the craft breweries with the big 750 milliliter bottles, or even the big pint bottles, the 550s or whatever they call them in milliliters. I think that's what a lot of those companies do, is they say, well, you better get it now. We developed this recipe, and it's only going to be out for a limited time. Or like one that I reviewed a little while ago here on the channel, the Leo versus Ursa series from Firestone Walker. They're going to do 4 of them every quarter, and once they're gone for the quarter, they're gone. They're not going to be coming back anytime soon. So that's how they get you, I think.
And I agree with that. But to go back to what, also what you're talking about, Drunken One, and we've talked about this before, actually quite a few times, but comparing homebrewing to like commercial products is tough, because what kind of price do you put on, what is the value of your time? If it takes you, say, 6 hours to brew a batch of beer, or let's say even longer to maintain it, let's say you're doing a lager and it takes weeks, how much is your time worth? Well, it's worth, like, say, minimum wage, $9-10 an hour, and it takes you 6 hours. That's an extra $50-60 going into it. If you value your time, now that's at the bottom.
No. That's what I understand what you're saying, but
so that's a great thing though about beer in general. If you want to homebrew and you don't value, I don't say you don't value your time, but you don't care, you enjoy it, it's a hobby, so you don't put your time into how much it's worth. It's just, I enjoy doing it. You can make beer, it's going to be cheaper, and you can make whatever you want. If you don't want to homebrew and you just want beer to drink, and there's cheaper beer out there, you drink some macros, drink some lower introductory craft, You can save money and drink. And if you want to go crazy and buy the $20 4-packs and the $25 750s and you just like all that stuff, go ahead and do it. I mean, there's a market for all of it. And I always get frustrated when people, tell other people what they should and shouldn't buy. If you want to go buy a malt liquor and enjoy it, that's your right. If you want to go buy a $25, bottle of beer and drink it, if you have the money to do that, feel free.
I'm so with you on that. It just seems like it seems like it could be cheaper. It seems like it could be cheaper. How is it that although the money is so different, okay, like in Canada, you were saying, well, the macros, the Busch and Budweiser and stuff is so expensive, but then again, the craft beer is a lot the same. So that just shows that if they can produce it, even with that money difference, like what we're talking about here, up to Canada, why can't they give us those breaks here? I'm thinking there's a bit of price gouging going on here.
Yeah,
there is, but it's
I'm wrong about that. But doesn't that have a lot to do with the fact that Canada has government-run liquor stores and they can control a lot of the pricing in Canada with that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's not many options.
I think they consider us beer snobs. And either you can drink what most everybody else is drinking, or if you want to buy this other beer, which is crafty, exactly. Yeah, I was doing the same thing with you. That is crafty. Then we're going to charge you for it, and then
Adam Lanza calls us fucking fags. Thank you, Adam Lanza.
Yeah, we were doing the air quotes together.
Right. One thing I do like, say up in Canada here, if I go and do say St. Catharines, there's a brewery there that has their list of stuff that they always brew. John brews it all the time, and then he's got his stuff he rotates, and sometimes that stuff disappears real fast. But he's not the kind of guy that price gouges and says, "Listen, I only got one keg of this beer. I'm gonna." Everything's the same price, whether it's his regular stuff or stuff that's like limited. So that's what I really appreciate. I don't like being price gouged if I don't have to.
Well,
exactly. Yeah.
But it's also the comparison I'd make because I'm fat and I like food. So this is the comparison I'll be making.
Pleasantly,
I'm fat, but I like food. It's confirmed. I'm fat and I like food. But let's compare it to like a steak. You can go to your local butcher or your grocery store or wherever, and you can buy yourself a nice T-bone or porterhouse, and it's going to be cheaper because you're buying it for yourself and you're cooking it yourself, right? So whatever you pay, and whatever like seasonings you want to throw on there, if you're going to marinate, whatever the case may be, it's going to be cheaper. You can step up. You can step up and go to a chain place like a Texas Roadhouse or an Outback or a Longhorn. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. Not necessarily any better than the one you're brewing, but they're cooking for you and whatever. Or you can go to that local chop house where that same porterhouse or T-bone is going to be $30 or $40, and it's going to taste really fucking amazing. But it comes down to, would you rather buy that $10 or $12 porterhouse at your local butcher shop and then go and make it yourself, or would you rather pay 3 times as much and get one from like a great chef? Sometimes maybe once or twice a year you want to go to that chop house and splurge a little bit and get something. So that's where it's kind of from the macros to the crafty, the craft.
That's true. Yeah, that was well put. Right.
Time and place, right?
And at the end of the day, you don't have to do the dishes. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's just it all depends on how you feel.
Yeah, I get it. I can appreciate what you. That was a good way to put
really
that.
Nice. I mean, I do like craft beer, and I tend to drink. I think I said it in one of our in our chat bar here at one point. Drink a macro and a Shiner from the Texas brewery there, and an Anchor beer, and drink at all different kinds of beer prices. I don't think any of those would be really, really, really overly expensive to get a whole different palette of the different, price points that there are in American beer. Although I think that what's really cool, and I do it with my extended family, my cousins, is on things like the American Thanksgiving, definitely Christmas, maybe even New Year's. We'll tend to create a craft beer or just a beer drinking day around the different activities that we're doing. And even if people don't normally buy the craft beer that are in the household that are there for those holidays, you're still going to introduce them to newer and different beers. And even if you just spend a little bit more money on beers during those holidays, it's still really a fun way to get people involved with beer. That
I agree. Yeah, I so agree.
The only thing I disagree with is don't buy Anchor. They were bought by Sapporo, right? Yeah, all right, don't buy them. Don't buy them.
So don't buy Lagunitas. They're bought by Heineken. All right.
Yeah, no, don't buy Funky Buddha now. They're bought by Constellation.
I don't care. Whatever. Just don't change the recipes. Don't put anybody out of work. I don't care.
No, don't buy them. Sorry, Jack One can't support it. You gotta say no. Say no. No, I mean, it's funny because today Funky Buddha, got bought out by Constellation, and a month from now there'll be another brewery bought out by someone else, and people will be upset, and it's like this isn't going to continue happening.
They're all going to be bought out, and then I'll be paying $43 a case for their beer.
I like the I saw the quote from the Funky Buddha owner. This was back in 2016, and he basically said, if someone comes up to me with $1 million, he'd be like, I'd be an idiot, and it would be an insult not to take that money from my brewery. I could help so many people. It would be stupid to say no. So he's like, if I was lucky enough to have that
earlier, and I think one of the things that we came up with between Jay and I, and probably Jean Pierre, was the fact that I don't think a lot of these people have any idea what it's like to be in a business or a corporation like these breweries that get bought out. They don't know what it's like to run those kind of companies, nor have they ever even maybe been in a company that's similar to that, where if you're offered some money to either partner with a company or just to be outright bought, why in the holy hell wouldn't you think about it like a business person and say, absolutely, I would do that? You can't. I mean, there's a point to being really loyal to a fan base and to a consumer at the end of the day. I understand that, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you're doing this because you're trying to make money to live, right? Come on.
Well, it's a business first and foremost, and another thing that people fail to realize a lot of times
they don't like
these buyouts. Nobody knows what every single brewery is going through. You don't know what situation they're in. Maybe they have children that have no aspirations to take over the brewery once they get older and can't handle the day.
Maybe they're just selling out.
Yeah, or maybe they just say, "Hey, here's $150 million. Would you like it?" And they say, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, maybe they're
just, I would love it.
Retirement.
Yeah, I would love it. That's cool. $150 million sounds like a great time. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Money talks. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Any craft brewery, they can say whatever they want. They can say, "Oh, it's about community. It's about my love." At the end of the day, you want to make money. You want to make profit.
Maybe shows up and says, "Hey, you know what? I really like your Radler. I'll buy you. I'll buy you right now for $30 million."
Nobody says that. No one ever likes anybody's Radler.
Okay, pay me stupid. I hear Radler, and you say that name with a bunch of different styles and kinds of, maybe not styles, but what's Radler about? Radler, right? Radler. What's Radler?
Rattlers were invented in Germany, and literally a rattler is like a bicyclist racer. So what happened was there was this old lady that was living in Germany by a bicycle racing place, and she decided that she wanted to serve the bicycle racers a beer, but kind of make it a one step up, refreshing beer. So she added lemonade to a typical German lager, and that's kind of what a rattler
is. Something like a shanty, maybe. Something like that. Okay.
Way better than a shandy, though.
Shandy.
No, well, that's the thing. They're actually very, very similar. Like, they're almost the same thing. It's just, I believe it was Germans used the word Radler and the British used the word shandy, but it was basically more or less lemonade mixed with beer, and then it branched out to
lemonade or ginger beer or ginger ale, apple juice or orange juice, and the shandy that was the shandy, and the Radler was more of a lemonade or a lemon lime with a traditional German blonde style of lager.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty much like a low ABV, with okay. No, I get it.
Anytime you add the other liquid to the beer, it's going to end up lowering the ABV. That's just
of course right. You dilute it.
It's almost like
you dilute it down the product. Yeah.
But yes, you're right.
a Radler and a Shandy is almost like the equivalent of a mimosa, just a set of champagne you're using beer, and instead of orange juice, you're using whatever fruit juice you want. But it's
I
very
see.
similar.
Yeah, I get it. All right. Thank you for clearing that up.
Schohofer.
And they're a great replacement for someone who, if it's summertime and it's super hot out and you want something that's low ABV. And
when I go to my local bar or whatever, and they have Radlers, they have the I think it's the Rickards Radler, and sometimes they have the Bud Light Radler there. And you know what? And if I'm drinking at the bar, you know what? I don't want to get all hammered up. I'd rather just be checking out the chicks.
Right, exactly.
I'll switch over to the Radler and then fucking take it easy. And
right. So on an average, what is the difference in ABV?
Most of them are between 2.0 and 4.5, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like 2.5. I want to say the Schaffenhofer one, which I think everybody can get basically in North America for the most part. That I think that's like 2.5 or 2.8.
It's like
4.2%. That's the big one in the North America, but you can, I don't know if they even still make it. At one point in time, and Jay did review it, at one point in time you could get the Amstel Radler, which was like 3.8%. And it didn't even taste. I liked it. I liked that beer. I didn't like it because it had anything to do with beer. I liked it because it tasted like a really great lemonade. It had no beer flavors whatsoever. But if you blindfolded yourself and you tasted Amstel Radler or Country Time Lemonade, you couldn't even tell the damn difference.
Really? Yeah. When I think of beer, I think and I could be wrong, and tell me if I'm wrong. I think of beer as being 5%. It's just a basic round number.
Well,
So with that being said, if you're talking about 2.5% ABV, then you could drink twice the amount and still be all right, I guess.
The only issue.
Am I wrong?
No,
with
for
that
sure. But
like an average beer.
No. I mean
that 5. Is that about right? Or
that's why people enjoy it. That's why people enjoy it, because it's refreshing. It's almost like, hey, some people like drinking lemonade when it's super hot out, or like iced tea or whatever. Instead, you have a little bit of alcohol character and you get whatever. The only problem I have with Leinenkugel is I like real Radlers and authentic Shandies with like actual juice. Like if you're going to tell me, hey, this is a raspberry Radler, I want the beer to maybe have a pinkish, a pinkish tone to it.
Actually,
Leinenkugel makes all their stuff with natural, whatever fruit flavor.
Is its natural lemonade flavor. I didn't realize that lemonade was a natural flavor from this earth.
Why does it say made with like lemonade? It's lemonade flavor. It's like
that's where it's kind of tricky. When they say natural flavors, they are telling you exactly what they're saying. It has the flavor. It's a flavor that was once natural. You are not getting any fruit juice in that. Yes, it's natural flavor. It's an orange. It's a lime. It's a lemon. It's a strawberry. Those are indeed natural flavors. What are you getting in that product? Is not going to be that lime, lemon, orange, or strawberry.
No, it's
the Bud Light Radler is juice. Like it's actually not just flavoring. You've got 50 on juice and beer on that one.
No, that's cool. That's what. That's the way it should be. And that's to go with any product, any kind of food product. When they say natural flavors, these are indeed natural flavors. But you made that strawberry flavor to put in that Pop-Tart. And it had nothing to do with a strawberry. It is indeed tasting like a strawberry, which is a natural product, a natural thing. But
it's funny. I remember a buddy of ours, Paul from PA Brew News, or as Lance likes to call him, PA Beer Reviews News, Computer News. He actually went to Germany a while back. I would say this was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and he said when they actually made their authentic Radlers for him, they would take half beer. And they would put the other half would not be a fruit juice. It would be 7-Up or Sprite. It would actually be a soda pop.
Yeah, we Shandy.
Okay.
And now that's a German Radler. That's not a Shandy.
Yeah.
That would be they would call it a Radler. And that was the way they did it. So it would be half soda pop, half beer. And it's like, you don't see that here. Like when they say Radlers or Shandies here, It's actually supposed to be juice to Leinenkugel, the flavor, but you don't usually see that. So I always thought that was interesting because you never see that. It's not like, oh, here's, unless you're, I guess the Not Your Father's line. Now they have like a Mountain Dew and like an iced tea and all this.
Not your citrus beer or something.
Yeah, and it looks like Mountain Dew basically in the bottle. It's like,
they
I think anyone asked for that.
That beer line. If you just bought beer.
When the Not Your Father, yes, he is. Hello, Gary. How was the review of Hurricane?
And you're muted.
Well,
all right. Yeah, so regular Hurricane was really good. So if I had to pick a regular malt liquor from Anheuser-Busch, it would be Hurricane. I don't really like King Cobra because King Cobra, in my opinion, it's too thin for a malt liquor, in my opinion. It's light and watery. This is light to medium, which is what a traditional malt liquor should be. It tastes very similar to King Cobra. Although King Cobra is thin overall in terms of the body and mouthfeel, it does have a pretty good amount of flavor. This has a little bit more body, a little bit more heft and flavor to it. This is more of a more well-balanced malt liquor. It's a little bit more hoppier as compared to King Cobra. King Cobra is a little bit more overly sweet. All you really taste is the barley malt, the adjuncts, and the yeast. You don't really taste a whole lot of the hops. This is a little bit more hoppier. You can taste a little bit more of what the beer ingredients should be. And with regular Hurricane, you also get a little bit of a citrusy note. It comes in right between the end of the sweetness up front when it transitions to that nice yeasty breadiness in the middle. And I like that.
Excellent.
So regular Hurricane gets a much higher score than King Cobra, in my opinion. If they were out of Hurricane, would I pick up King Cobra? Yeah. But would I really buy it for myself? If I could choose between King Cobra or Hurricane, I'd pick this.
I got to say, great review there. I got to say that I think most people probably know, I'm not sure about Chris, but I think most people probably know my little happiness with the Shipyard Brewing Company as of lately. I got this, I'll just say it really fast again if people don't remember. I got this 12-pack variety from Shipyard. They're in Portland, Maine in the United States. Got this variety pack, seasonal variety pack, by the way. It was in a cooler in the end of May of 2017. Awesome. So it just said that it was going to have their export ale, which is their flagship, their Chamberlain Pale Ale, which is another year-round beer, a seasonal beer, and then one that said other. So I'm like, all right, it's in a cooler. It's like $13. It's New England, okay, sure. Massachusetts, by the way. So I get this thing home in May, and one of the things that I found was that most of the bottles said 2016 on them, which is kind of strange. One of them was a chocolate milk stout, which only comes out in the wintertime. So therefore, I knew it was a wintertime collection from May that they were selling it. And then this one came about, a Smash Pumpkin, a pumpkin variety beer in the month of May. All right, sure.
They're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, exactly. This one was bottled on the 26th of August, 2016. So this is a year old, but it's not Pumpkinhead from Shipyard. It's Smash Pumpkin. It's 9.0%. And I've actually aged the beer in a big 750 milliliter bottle before, which was probably $7 or $8 US. This is, I mean, I liked the milk chocolate stout, the Chamberlain Pale Ale, and the export tasted like movie theater buttered popcorn from the floor, which was nasty.
Never.
But this one here is 9%, and it is one of the best beers I think that Shipyard makes.
Well, at 9%, that's going to hold up for you.
Yep, and that's why I aged it. I bought one of them 2 years ago in October, and I cracked it open last November. And it still reminds me of the same beer. It has the same sort of a pie crust and those spiced elements. A really nice sweet toffee, kind of a caramelly note. A little bit of a undiscernible fruitiness, but that could be the gourd of the pumpkin itself.
A little pumpkin pith.
Gourd? You say gourd? Come on, Eric.
He's stretching these descriptors, isn't he?
That's such a nice gourdy component.
And it definitely has the big, bold mouthfeel you want. It's a little bit sticky. It's a little bit chewy, which is nice for shipyard beers. Shipyard beers are not chewy, and this is nice that it has that bigger, bolder the character about it. You get a lot of nutmeg. You get a lot of cinnamon. You get a lot of that graham cracker pie crust about it. The 9% shows itself. It doesn't show itself as a slap your face around. It shows yourself that it's, I would say, on the high side of medium, bordering that low, full-bodied style. It's extremely dangerous because it's on the high side of medium, but it's still drinkable as all hell. You could really kill a 6-pack and not even realize you killed a 6-pack until maybe 15 minutes after the 6-pack is gone. It's that smooth. It's that drinkable. It's a little bit.
How's the spice on that? Is it overpowering on the spice or no? That's what I find a lot with pumpkin beers. If it's too spicy, like overpowering with the nutmeg and shit, I won't drink it.
The nutmeg is not overpowering. If anything, you get the nutmeg initially, and then you get more cinnamon and graham cracker. And you can tell it's cinnamon mixing it with the graham cracker. And for me, it almost gives it, I don't want to say like a biscuity, like malty sweetness, but almost like that in a way.
Are there any nitroed pumpkin beers ever?
I hope so. That would be a really cool
in like an actual can or bottle, not that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's a lot of breweries that do it on tap at their own brewery, nitroed. That's funny that you say that, Eric, because I don't think I've really considered a pumpkin beer to be sessionable or like drinking a 6-pack of it. Usually that character kind of just overwhelms the palate after one or two. There's certain styles where you're just like, I'm one and done. And usually pumpkin ales fall in that range for me personally. But I've had that beer before, and I don't like Shipyard personally. I mean, I know you're indifferent to them.
Generally, I am, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, the one thing I have an issue with, we mentioned the Rattlers and the Shandies, right?
Yeah.
The Shipyard Pumpkin Head is their base pumpkin beer.
Yeah.
I don't even think they have pumpkin in it.
I don't know that they do.
I think it's just pumpkin spices. It's like, how do you call a beer Pumpkinhead, but not actually have pumpkin in the fucking beer? Isn't like what? I don't understand. There's a lot of breweries that do that.
It's like,
it seems like kind of false advertising a little bit.
Yeah,
with some potato in it.
Yeah, something like that. My beer review, I have to look on the website. My beer review that I did on Beer Advocate from December 9th, 2015, I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. In my assessment at that point in time was overall it's a great Imperial Pumpkin style ale. It's overall a sweet, sticky, lightly boozy beer, which I still agree with today. It's got more character than the Pumpkinhead for sure. I agree with that today. I tend to prefer the Imperial Pumpkins for that reason. What else did I say? I think Imperial beer fans, stout fans, and even whiskey bourbon fans would like this beer, and I still agree with that statement to this time. I would probably bump that up to a 4 out of 5. I think it's one of the better pumpkin beers you can buy in the market. For me, when it comes to the pumpkin beers, I would rather buy an Imperial one or buy something a little bit off the cusp, just because I think it's going to be probably done a little better and not be done in a way that's just generic. But that's just me.
Yeah, I feel like if you want to try a pumpkin beer, I know they're owned by AB InBev, but Elysian makes some great pumpkin beers. That's what they were well known for before AB InBev bought them out, and they're still known for it. I mean, it's not like they're all of a sudden shit because AB InBev owns them, and they have so many different varieties, and I think they're available in a lot of states at this point now because obviously distribution is one of the key reasons why they're with AB InBev, along with a shit ton of money. But yeah, I mean, there's so many pumpkin beers out there. The one issue I've always had with pumpkin beers when it comes to the style itself is for every 1 or 2 good pumpkin beers, there's 10 shitty ones that just are overspiced or just not cohesive or just don't have enough flavor. It seems like it's one of those styles that really needs to be brewed well and needs to be balanced, and you don't see that too often.
No,
yeah, the website
if it's hard to drink, then there's no point. You gotta get a nice smooth pumpkin beer. And I don't know why we're talking about pumpkin beers in the summer, only because
Because
I'm not sure you guys are aware, but despite what you or Mr. Teku Murray says in the comments, this is like prime time for pumpkin beers. I'm pretty sure Samuel Adams released their pumpkin beer in March, probably in March, maybe April, because they're like, let's beat everybody to the market, and then it's like there's no one else you're trying to beat to the market because it's still spring, and no one wants to drink pumpkin beers in spring. You'd be surprised. I would be surprised, and then all of a sudden, early July, Southern Tier's beer is out, and it's just like, I'm in disbelief. But the fact that you, Eric, bought that Bix pack and that beer was in there in May, not as surprising as I would think most people.
You know what? I was mostly happy about that because of my experience with this beer. I tend to buy it every year because it's one of the better ones, even though the website describes it as no pumpkin. They describe it as it's got. Well, actually, it says it has the natural tannin of pumpkin. Whatever the hell that
Just
means.
add fucking pumpkin. I don't understand. If you're making
they grate the shit out of the skin and put it in. Come on.
So they make
it'd be like someone saying, "Here's a malt liquor, but there's no malt in it." What the fuck? Like
I don't say pale ale, wheat, and light Munich malts combined with the natural tannin and pumpkin and delicate spices of saffron and Hallertau hops to balance the sweetness of the fruit. So I don't know if they use the fruit or if they don't or what they're talking about. I don't know. It's good beer.
The only pumpkin beer I've ever had was a Sam Adams pumpkin ale they released in the fall variety pack.
What'd you think about it?
Thought it was pretty good. If they do a review, or if I do a review of it later, I'll let y'all know. I'd say if they may put it in this fall variety pack, they may not. Some years they do it, some years they don't.
Almost every year, the thing about Sam Adams variety packs, they always include the Boston Lager all the time because no one's ever had Boston Lager before. It's like, look, if you're doing a variety pack, you don't need to include Boston Lager. Everyone at this point knows Boston Lager tastes like, but they always have to throw a couple in there. But I know at this point, the last couple of years, the fall variety pack always has the they changed up the name of the pumpkin beer. I don't know, it's like 1,000 pounds of pumpkin or some shit now. They always have that, the Oktoberfest, and the pumpkin beer, and then usually 3 others. So
yeah,
every year in the variety pack, it should be in there. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know why the Smash Pumpkin was even in a winter seasonal. Shouldn't that be in the fall seasonal?
Well, Shipyard makes shit beer. I believe you said Shipyard. Shipyard is. Again, it's to each their own. But I have never been a fan of the brewery, whether it's the so-called Ringwood yeast that they use, or whether it's the fact that I just don't like their. Yeah, I just Ringwood hops. They've never. I mean, even going back, it was some of the first when I got into craft beer. There was some of their stuff was the stuff that was available.
That's another good one that our Teku Murray buddy says he admittedly I really do like Pumpkin by the Dogfish Head. That is a good one.
You know why I think that's an awesome beer is because the base beer is a brown ale, and you don't have too many pumpkin beers.
Is there real pumpkin in it?
Yes, there's real pumpkin in it. They put I think brown sugar and nutmeg. It's a different take on it because so many pumpkin beers. Honestly, the base beers are just.
I think Drunken One needs to
average. Do not brew a pumpkin beer. Do not brew pumpkin beer. Do not Drunken One. Save yourself.
I have a brown ale. I have a brown ale, and it's almost done. It's taking its damn sweet old time. It's sat for 2 weeks, and I was thinking, okay, it's good to go. And so I took it outside because that's where I bottle. And just, I guess, moving it around or whatever. And it wasn't out there long, but then I seen the airlock start moving again. So I checked the gravity, and I think it was supposed to be at like a 1012. It was what the recipe said, 1012, and it was done. It was at 1006, and it was still bubbling. So I didn't mess with it. I need to check it. I'll probably check it in the next couple of days, actually, but Yeah, so it's gone below what it was supposed to have been, which is good, I guess. It's going to be a little more dry than what it's supposed to be, and a little higher in alcohol. Okay, I'm cool with that. But it started bubbling again, and I was thinking, well, I could bottle it, but my luck, I'll have fucking bottle bombs, and so I don't need a bunch of bottle bombs. So I'm just gonna keep checking the gravity until it quits moving, and then we'll go from there. I don't know what happened, but no pumpkin in my beer. No pumpkin.
Is it still? It's still fermenting, right?
Yeah, it's still working, but it sat still for a while. Like I said, I let it sit 2 weeks. Usually I can turn over my stouts in about a week, but a buddy of mine said, well, if you wait another week, the yeast will kind of clean up after themselves, and you get a better product. All right, so I've been trying that, but after 2 weeks, it was done fermenting. But after moving the carboy out to the front porch, and getting ready to bottle, then I seen the airlock moving again, and I was like, oh, wait a second.
What do you do? Would you add more yeast? Would you add more fermentables? What would you do to
Oh no! I gotta wait it out. I gotta wait for the yeast to get done eating, and they're still producing CO2, and so I just gotta wait for them to get done. You just take gravity readings every 3-4 days, and when it finally quits moving, then they're done eating, and then at that point I bottle. So I'm gonna move that beer into a different bucket, my bottling bucket, and I'm going to give them a little more sugar to where they'll come to life again and carbonate the bottles. So, but yeah, if I'd have done it too early, then I'd have bottle bombs, and I'm not into. Sure. Never had those, and I don't want to go there.
Like a Belgian beer when you pop the top. See you later.
I believe it's called Pop a Top.
Gushers. Yeah, Pop a Top. Yeah, that's
like a Google or something.
Happy Tap.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we spent way too long on pumpkin beers in the middle of July. I will agree with you.
Well, I had one. I'm like, fuck it, I'll drink it in a Teku glass for Teku Murray.
Oh, motherfucking Teku glass! Did it make it taste better? Probably.
That's for the variety pack. Yeah, you'd want to check your dates on those, because especially like this time of the year, it's too early to be putting out pumpkin beers.
But a lot of them don't have dates. A lot of them won't allow you to open the variety pack to look at the dates, so you just have to go based on hopefully.
We talked about this when it came to the other one we talked about. So there were 3 of them. I'll just talk about the last one. So
yeah, it was going to get that Oktoberfest too.
So the first one I talked about was the Blue Point one, which was a year old when I bought it. The other one was the Shipyard one, and then the best example was the Beer Camp. But the Beer Camp is weird because the Beer Camp from Sierra Nevada comes out in June. It was packaged in May, but all the beers were bottled or canned in April.
Yeah, Sierra Nevada just needs to get its shit together. Plain and simple, if they're going to do another Beer Camp pack, which I'd imagine they will because it's been like 3 or 4 years running, just stop with the hop forward bullshit. If you can't get the beer out to your consumers within a reasonable time and you have a lot of hop forward stuff, then don't include hop forward stuff or get it out to your customers in a reasonable amount of time. I am not one of the guys that will complain about beer that it doesn't need to be a week old or it doesn't need to be 72 hours from the fermenter. Like I understand it all can't be super fresh. Not every brewery, I mean, go to the brewery only releases and stuff, it's going to be fresh, but when you get stuff that's distributed, I don't think it's too much to ask to have hop forward beers be a month or maybe 5-6 weeks old max.
Yeah. Get them on the end.
Yeah, when you're talking 2+ months old for a hop forward beer, and you're like, this is dry hopped, and this is double dry hopped, and this is with breweries that make awesome IPAs like a Treehouse or someone like that. Make sure everyone's tasting somewhat fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you wasted your time. You spent all that money on all the hops and stuff, and your consumers aren't getting it the way you intended it. So those need to be rushed out somehow. Get those on the floor first.
Surprisingly, in that Sierra Nevada Beer Camp, one of the better beers I had in it, and I tried it yesterday, was that Sierra Nevada that they did with the Surly Brewing Company, which was the
ginger lager.
That was actually really good for some strange
was it the ginger
reason.
Lager? It was the ginger
lager. It was the ginger lager that they did with ginger
pepper,
and cayenne, and it was aged fermented on oak, and it was amazing.
See, I thought it was all right. I thought it was all right.
It was very, very unique. It wasn't really.
Yeah, there was a nice
really
uniqueness
spicy,
to it.
but it had that. It had a little kick at the end.
But yeah, I think what you were saying, Teku Murray, about too many moving parts for a kind of variety pack. That's all it needs to be said. When you're trying to do 12 different styles and you're trying to make the styles in the realm of whatever that brewery is. So with Fuller's, they did a vintage style old ale. With Treehouse, they did an IPA. With Camp, what was it? Garage Project in Australia, they did a
Camp Out Porter.
They did the Camp Out Porter. They kind of stayed with what those breweries know, but half the beers were either IPAs or dry hopped of some nature. If they're going to show up in your area 2 months old, then half those beers, I don't say they're a waste because of those couple IPAs. I enjoyed the double IPA I think Sierra Nevada did with Boneyard, I believe. It was really fucking good. That was probably my favorite. And it was already 7 or 8 weeks old, but it was still I'd love to see what it was at 4 weeks old. Those 4 or 5 weeks would probably make it a decent difference. So you're only doing yourself a disservice because you're getting these beers out to the consumer and they're not getting what the beers really should be. And I'd imagine Sierra Nevada knows that. They're not dumb, but every year they do it. The couple of years ago they did the same beer camp, and they did a beer called, I believe it was Alpha King, which was a take. They kind of did a hybrid between what the fuck is the Three Floyds beer, Alpha whatever IPA, and then Sierra Nevada did their own twist. Oh, it's called Alpha King is the Three Floyds. Chico King is what they did. So they did Chico, California, where Sierra Nevada is from. They had their influence on the base of Alpha King.
That's cool.
It showed up 10 weeks old. What the fuck? It's a pallet that's supposed to be half forward, but it's 2.5 months old. Yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Just don't do that then. Just make a variety pack, and there are so many different styles. Just don't make anything that's hop forward. I know they want, people love hops, and it's all about IPAs and pale ales and all kinds of double IPAs and all that stuff, and dry hop this, dry hop that. If you can't do yourself right, if you can't put it out and make the consumers happy, then just don't fucking do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's like beer porn.
No, I'm waiting for Gary to do the Seinfeld. I'm just waiting for Gary to do the Seinfeld transition right now.
Oh man, he's gonna do it.
No, I'm still learning how to play. I'm not really all that good.
What's the bass? Sweet.
I got a guitar too, but I'm learning bass first.
The world needs more bass players. They always need a bassist. Always.
And more cowbell. More cowbell.
Bass players get all the chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe.
All the band members get all the chicks if they're popular enough.
I'm trying to find my picks because I don't play bass with my fingers. I play bass with my pick. And I can't find
Who's your favorite bass player?
I don't have a favorite player. Like I said, I just started learning. I'm still learning the basics. I can play a few songs.
Listen to
Not very
Megadeth.
good.
Eric, we're gonna have to, ask you to stop being a fucking nerd. I know you're huge into music.
Listen to
I
Megadeth.
could play some Ramones. That's really about it.
That's pretty cool.
I know you're in an 80s cover band, Eric, right?
And the Mill Time Machine.
Okay, yeah. What are your top 5 songs that you guys play?
Do you have a YouTube channel on this one, Eric?
I can send it
Also,
over.
before you get into that,
top-
let's get the way I just want to read the comments real quick because it does make sense. Ewart says Ginger's tough to work with, doesn't take too much to go over line. He drinks a lot of kombucha with ginger, and he is correct on that. It is very tough. There's a lot of ginger beers. I'd imagine if we got that ginger beer fresh, it might have been too much in the variety pack. It might have been overkill if it was 2 weeks old. So anyway, about the top 5. I'm
the top
ready.
5 songs that we probably play.
Pumped.
Hot for Teacher, Master of Puppets.
Hot for Teacher, really?
Round and Round by Rat.
Nice. There you go.
Round and round.
Right.
And probably
Jesus Christ. Love it.
I'll give you $1
somewhere between Rocky Like a Hurricane and The Trooper.
Rocky like a hurricane.
Well,
Someone just grab your balls?
No, I'm
Oh, you're getting
Rubber
that
band.
falsetto? Falsetto's going.
Oh yeah.
We have a show on the night. We have a show on the night of the Conor McGregor fight. So maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. I don't know.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of people wherever you are watching.
We're playing 12:30 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. So there you go.
You're going from 12:30 to 1:30.
That's right in the middle of the main fight.
Probably at the end, like halfway through it, you'll start.
I need more smashed pumpkins that night.
They'll make it. Say, you know what? We'll just wait for the fight to be over and then start playing. Is what's going to end up happening. Everyone's going to be staring at the screen. And my money's on Mayweather on this one. Well, everyone's money's on Mayweather.
Yeah, I think like 98% of the people are on Mayweather. But
watch McGregor win. There's somebody's going to get rich on it.
Well, probably just set up a rematch or something. Who knows? I mean, you know who the real winners are? Mayweather and McGregor and the promoters. That's it. Everybody's going to pay for something that shouldn't even be a thing. McGregor doesn't even have a professional boxing fight on his belt at all. Like zero. Like no, not even amateur. No, just here's fucking Mayweather, one of the best fucking pound for pound fighters in the history of this world. And they're like, oh, hey, it's totally gonna be we're gonna watch this. It's like, okay,
you the drummer on this one?
I am the drummer. Yep.
Okay, okay.
That's me.
Cool. Excellent. Round and round.
He's still doing the right good
song. Sorry.
I love your guys' description. Bringing back the days of 80s stadium anthems and power ballads to New England.
Power ballads.
Your taste buds and your ears.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Your glass is empty, yeah?
Yeah. So maybe we can go off. What do they call that? Extra hours off air, overtime?
Offline? Are we done talking about stuff?
We've gone probably since, I don't know, 8 or 9 o'clock, I bet. So thank you, 3 viewers. We got 3 that are still watching.
Oh, you had at one point like 7. Oh, really? They were into it.
At one point we had 7, and we had some guy that was being weird and
he stopped trolling.
Obviously, he's not a Rat fan, so fuck him.
Well, Adam afterwards he said, "What's up? I'm done trolling. Budweiser's decent." Like, so he was just.
Yeah, sure it is. All right. So.
I still pushed him out. I still reported.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I was knocking him out.
He's back right now.
There he's back. He's back.
Listen, Adam, I will talk about your cock if I could find it. Thank you very much.
There you
go. That's a Polish guy.
Don't even excite him. Right.
All right. Not going to do that. So, Joe, Average Joe, describe your channel.
My channel doesn't exist.
And describe who you are.
Yeah, I have 42 subscribers, all of which don't know nothing's coming. So, it's a lot of fun. That's all I got.
What you got, Chris?
I do a variety of things on my channel. I like to do some trolling videos, some beer reviews with some bikinis behind me. If you check them out, you'll see them. What else? Oh, and the channel is going to be changing, so you guys check it out. It's in the basement.
Stay tuned for that, in other words.
Or don't. Unsubscribe. That's
all right. All right.
By the way, I have 43 subscribers. I'm one more than Joe. Thank you.
Woo.
All right, and I have content and he doesn't.
You're drinking on YouTube or whatever.
Drunken One. He's got a good one. He's got a good channel.
Oh, hell no, me? No, it's Drunken
Describe
One.
Describe your presence on YouTube.
Yeah, it's DRUNKONE, Drunken One. I got some videos. I do some stuff. I don't know. I act a fool. I do some crappy reviews, and I do a lot of beer brewing, and I'm just like the town idiot or whatever. I'm the official keg cleaner. Y'all be sure to come by and check out my channel. I don't know, whatever. If you like it, cool. If not, whatever. Come on by.
What you got, Gary? Explain your bass playing and the social media presence on the internet.
Well, my bass playing, I'm learning using Rocksmith 2014.
Yes.
I played on PC where you can get custom songs. If only I knew how to make the tracks, I'd make them myself. But unfortunately, I don't.
Sweet.
So my social media, I do a little bit of everything. I'll talk about politics, religion, games, alcohol talk, things like that. And my YouTube channel, I've got 39 subscribers. I mostly do beer reviews, but I'm getting into wines and spirits. I've done some wines, some spirits, but not a whole lot. Most stuff I've done is beer.
Cool.
But I'm getting ready to do a second channel. I don't know if I'm going to call it Gary's Gaming Channel or Gary's Music Channel. I don't know. Because I played games, and I'm starting to get back into playing music. Like, I've been playing guitar off and on since I was 14, so I consider myself, like, I'm not a novice. I'd say kind of somewhere, like, beginner, intermediate, somewhere in that area. I can play a few songs, but not a whole lot.
Learn
I at least know the basics on how to play. What?
Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth. Learn that one. It's easy.
Round
and
round.
Or Round and Round by Red.
All right. Play us out.
Oh, William Kepley's joining all of a sudden. Uh-oh. We're about
I
to
can give you
end
an
this thing.
example of me playing basing. I don't have a pick. I can just use my my finger on how to play.
Play us out, and Chris will sing for us.
Jockey one, do not encourage the man. Do not encourage the man. No one wins in this situation.
All right. I am Thomas Metal 75 of the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I have 156 lonely subscribers. We need more. A lot more.
Are you showboating now, Eric? Are you showboating?
Yeah. If you type in Massachusetts Beer Reviews to YouTube, or yeah, that would be a good thing. If you type it into Facebook, you'll find our group that's got like 113 maybe lonely people. We need more. Join us all. We like to talk about beer, drink beer, talk about Gary's bass playing, and all in between. It's all good. And now we got William. What is up, William?
Just got home tonight. I went to the drag strip. We have Thursday nights local. We have a drag strip where if you run what you brung, you can take your car, motorcycle, and run it down the 1/8 of a mile track. So
that's cool.
My adrenaline rush out tonight, and
that sounds like a good one.
I love speed and literally speed.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Excellent.
So I come home and popped open a Sweetwater Going Postal. It's summertime, and so this beer is pretty apropos for the season.
Excellent.
Nice.
Now we're going to go a little over time on the broadcast here since William just joined. One of the things that we talked about was I found this whole article from the the Salt Lake City Tribune, and they talked about the top selling beer, spirits, and wine in their state. What's the top selling beer, wine, and spirit, or what do you think of the big selling beers, wines, and spirits in your area you live in?
Was that the crickets I hear?
Oh God, not the crickets.
Moderator, where I can keep slamming homeboy out of here. What's his name? Adam. Somebody. Can you make me moderator for the show?
Probably somehow.
I think there's a way to do it. Yeah, and I'll just keep him out of the room. Yeah, he's just being a prick. And he's back.
Great. Timeout.
I didn't mean to stop everything.
That's all right, but yeah.
Mr. Williams in the house, and he's got some great stories to tell.
Good. So yeah, top beers, wines, and spirits in your area of the country there, William.
I think a lot of it depends on the socioeconomic, where you live at. Here, I'd say the standard beers, the adjunct lagers are very popular based on I see a lot of natural light in all this. I mean, it's stacked like brick wall in this area. A lot of Busch Ice, these value brands that are, very competitively priced. And I'd say in this market, those dominate more than the craft beers would. As far as wine, I think probably if there was a singular wine I would say is most popular in this area, it would probably be the Evan Williams Black Label. I think it represents a very good value proposition and a value brand. And the wine, maybe something like a Sutter Home, another cheap product, you know, for those that are really price conscious. But in this area, that's what I see more of. Just, you know, like Yogi Berra said, you can observe a lot by watching. And so I think that's probably what I would say for this area.
Natural Light does pretty good in my area as well, and so does Natty Ice. I see so many people buying the 12 packs and 24 packs each. And also, when we had to take my stepson down to Alabama, his dad lives in Florida, so we met him halfway. We met in Natal, Alabama, which is about 30 miles northwest of Birmingham. The first gas station we stopped at, because we were looking at different stuff they have at the various gas stations down there, Jet Pep is pretty popular. So I was sitting out in the Jeep. My wife went in to look to see what they had, and I'm going to do some reviews on what she found down there. Apparently, when we hit Alabama, we hit the Central Time Zone, but we went back in time more than an hour, apparently. Apparently, we went back about 30 years because all I saw were mullets. Jacked up trucks, old run-down trailers, and mullets. Lots and lots of mullets. And these two guys, they look like the stereotypical mulleted rednecks from Alabama. They went in and bought like 2 12-packs of Natty Ice and drove off like bats out of hell. So I guess they were probably drunk. Who knows?
Business up front, party in the back.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
I mean, their mullets were, I guess they just started them because their hair was like kind of short and spiky up front, but it was like down about like right here in the back.
They're big fans of Billy Ray Cyrus.
Probably. Alabama, all it is it's hot and humid. It's flat. There's farmlands. There's lots of rundown trailers, and there's not one Prius in sight.
Hey, wait.
We saw plenty of things that
Easy on the Prius. Easy on the Prius.
Teku Murray.
We saw everything that eats the Prius. We saw Dodge Rams, Chevy Silverados, Ford Mustangs, and Chevy Camaros, the things that eat Priuses. The reason why we probably didn't see them is because they ate them all.
Damn. Right?
So, yeah, the other thing that we were talking about was apparently, I don't know where this happened, but a consumer found 2 undecomposed geckos inside of their Heineken can. Does anybody believe that story? I mean, seriously. That's why it tasted foul. The guy was vomiting, seriously ill in the hospital because of undecomposed geckos in his Heineken.
Well, if they were undecomposed, I don't believe in it so much because I think a normal human stomach could probably palate that. Whether it turned his stomach because he's seen the geckos, or the daughter, I think, as the story goes, seen the geckos.
Yep.
That might turn my stomach, but whether it actually made you sick, probably not. You know?
Violently ill, as the article said from Fox News.
I don't believe it.
Maybe they're looking to get sponsored by Geico.
Wait. I know why. They found us those geckos in their beers. Maybe they were big fans of Geico, and they decided to do that just to make Geico look bad.
That's what I'm saying. They want to be sponsored by them. So,
was that a dry hop gecko? Was that a dry hop gecko?
They got dry hopped at the moment of brewing.
No. Well, at least you know it wasn't made with natural gecko flavor.
Oh God.
Nice. Fucking Joe. You're always thinking outside the box. That's funny.
Licking the toad says in the basement.
No.
I know. I like that one. Yeah, I see that. Like licking a toad.
And then there's an Australian beer company called East Ninth that's doing big and bold things with hemp seeds, which have a tiny itty-bitty amount of THC that's actually still in the hemp seeds. And they think that they're being really innovative on the market as far as Australian beers are concerned. I don't know what anybody's thoughts that joined us, like William or Gary. I don't know what your thoughts are on that stuff, or even Joe.
I have no thoughts. I don't know anything about Australian
weird, right?
beer market, so I don't know how innovative they are.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of breweries in the United States that have done stuff with hemp seeds and hemp beers and stuff, but I have no idea about Australia itself when it comes to that stuff.
But did they have THC though, Joe? Was it? I mean, to reuse a product is all right, and they do a lot of medical marijuana, and so there's the byproduct is obviously seeds and stems, and the brokers don't like seeds and stems. Hey, if it can be reused to be able to make something, I'm into that. But
I'd try it. You don't hear much about it around in the States. I'm sure there's just so many breweries now. What is there, 6,000 in the United States, or 5,500?
Yeah, over 5,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Every city has dozens of them, and I'm sure they're all trying weird stuff till you get the actual information out there, and it becomes a news story. I mean, I haven't heard much. Like I said, I've heard a couple breweries doing stuff with hemp and I believe traces of THC, but past that, I don't know. I don't know how much of a big deal it is nowadays with so many different states legalizing marijuana. It's like, I don't know. I guess it'd be cool to try a beer.
Oh yeah,
but I mean, it's like, it's kind of, you want to talk about gimmicks. I think it's super gimmicky at that point, right?
If you want to go,
it seems that way.
Yeah, what's his name? Matt from Massive Beer Reviews. I think it was recently did a beer review of a homebrew. It was like a New England style IPA that somebody used liquid THC in the beer, and he decided that during the beer review he was going to come back at certain periods of time and kind of update the audience on how he was feeling over time. And in the next hour after he initially, drank the whole beer, he really liked the flavor as a homebrew beer. But over an hour, he wasn't like really, really, really stoned, but he was like, well, I almost didn't come back on the camera because I was sitting on the couch watching TV, eating chips and salsa. Like, I didn't know if I wanted
to. And it's one of those things is how much is the beer is how much is just placebo effect.
Exactly. Right.
He didn't think it was placebo because if you couldn't guess, I'm not trying to say anything negative or positive, but if you couldn't guess, he's had THC marijuana before.
I think things like this are nature of the craft beer movement, about innovation, constantly pushing the envelope. And you got like thousands of breweries now in the States, and it's often been said about the craft beer consumer that they're promiscuous. They're not loyal to any particular brand. So that encourages the brewers to try to come up with something new and new. Does it ever reach the point where they jump the shark? Or are people continually wanting to keep pushing the envelope and try new things? But that seems to be what the craft beer movement was based on. We don't want what was popular in the past. We want something different.
Well, we want different. And that's the thing. I mean, I've heard Jay say before and other people, have barrel aged beers, so to speak, jump the shark, as you mentioned, or is it gimmicky? And I'm like, not really. I mean, IPAs are the most popular craft beer style, period. Hop forward beers. I mean, and when they're going to stop being produced? When people stop drinking them. And I've heard the gimmick thing with them, or like, it's a fad, and it's been 5 years running now. It's not a fad. The people enjoy it, but there are gimmicks. There are and this is a gimmick. This falls in the realm, like the THC thing falls in the realm of gimmick. I don't think you'll see, every brewery going, oh, we're making a THC beer.
Out of Colorado.
Yeah.
Fucking THC beers.
Yeah, there is a lot of gimmick styles. Sure. And some of them do jump the shark. But when you're talking about beer in general and having 100+ styles, I think you're gonna see a lot of gimmicky styles or gimmicky, so to speak, beers. They're gonna become a fad. I mean, I'll give you an example. The one beer that I can safely say has been a fad is the Not Your Father's Root Beer, the root beer beers. Those things a year and a half ago were selling so well everywhere. And I mean, my local bottle shop, they'd get cases upon cases that sell out in hours. Now just hangs out on the shelf. You know why? Because it was a gimmick. It was fad. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe this Not Your Father's Root Beer tastes like an actual root beer, but it's 6%. Oh my God, so cool. And then they're like, well, you know what? I could just get a root beer and put a shot of vodka in it. It's the same fucking thing. It's a lot cheaper.
You put rum in there.
Yeah, or rum, or whatever spirit of your choosing, right? But it's one of those things where
nice rum and root beer is fucking-tastic.
Yeah, but that was a gimmick beer, and there's so many of them that will go to the wayside because you catch the moment, whatever's popular, and people are like, yeah, this is awesome. But then a year from now, it's like not so much, And I feel like THC beers would probably fall in that category. Of course, we don't have, like I said, can't really think of anybody. I would like to see a big craft brewery like a New Belgium or a Sam Adams or someone come out with one. I want to see the lashback or what kind of response they get from everybody. but I'd also like to see it widely available. So
only sold in certain states. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, that'll work. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
And then they're checking everyone's beer mails. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I got to do that beer review at some point in time.
Beer review?
Eric Lyons fan sent me a bottle of, not that I can't get it around here, but he really wanted to send it to me, so I was like, sure, whatever. He sent me a bottle of the what was it? The Dragon's Milk Stout Reserve S'mores version.
Mm-hmm.
He told me at one point in time, I remember him talking about he didn't like that beer, and then he said, "Well, do you want me to send you one?" And then my reaction was, "But you didn't like the beer." He goes, "Oh, it was better warmer." I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I probably will like it. Give me the beer. I'll review it. He didn't want anything in return. Just review the beer. So I might do that tomorrow night. Maybe do one of these review panels again, maybe.
I like Eric. Eric's a good guy, but I feel like he's trolling you a little bit.
It was like a $17.99 4-pack, and the thing cost like $9.32 to send it to me. I'm like, is that even really worth it? I guess he thought it was.
Eric's like, hey, Eric, I didn't like this beer at all.
So do you want it? Yeah, that's how I heard it. Do you want it? I'm like, no, but
it was horrible. It didn't taste like s'mores. It tasted like shit. But would you like to try?
Well, that was the thing about the about that camp out stout from Garage Project in Sierra Nevada. They were talking about that was going to taste like a s'mores and marshmallows by the campfire.
I thought that was a really good beer, but yeah, it didn't taste like s'mores. I thought
it was good. It didn't taste anything like that.
No, it was just I thought it was a really good porter, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of honey in there,
They're talking about they used some rare honey from some rare tree or something. It was like some kind of gimmick, right?
I don't know. I'm not a honey connoisseur, but I will say that I could taste the honey. I didn't know what kind.
Last time I checked, honey was made by bees. Not trees.
Exactly.
Probably not.
It's
probably
some rare tree.
Now, probably seals or baby walruses. I don't know what these bees.
A seal walks into a club.
Fucking Joe.
I get my honey from the sea.
I get my honeys from the strippers.
Oh,
nothing.
It has fallen off to the wayside.
No, I'm almost turning into a Greg there.
Anyways, anybody else got any topics of discussion before we go overtime off air?
We're not off air yet.
Not yet. We
had some newcomers come in. I know. I was just teasing. Now, Mr. William come in, and he's always good for some information. That guy.
I didn't know what. William, what are you drinking right now? I didn't catch what you were drinking.
Sweetwater going postal.
Nice.
Nice.
Pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple IPA.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Do you like it?
Sounds like juicy.
I like it. It's it's not revolutionary.
Filtered, unfiltered.
I like it.
Would you say they're using actual real like pineapple juice or?
And you can notice that it has it doesn't taste like candy or artificial. It actually tastes like pineapple.
Okay.
That's the thing I like about it.
They're using the juice, or they're using the actual fruit, or the flavoring,
or like a puree or something, right?
I think probably a puree, but it does taste like pineapple.
It's the same shit. Yeah, good.
It's not like that topping they put on banana splits.
No,
like that.
Yeah, that stuff's all right. It's just not real.
I'm not saying that's all right. I'm not saying I want to get a.
I kind of want a banana split now.
But I was pretty impressed. Sometimes these seasonal beers, they're okay, but I'll just say, like for Sam Adams, I'd really just rather have their traditional lager. Yeah. The seasonals, a lot of them don't really do much for me, but this one I think is pretty nice.
Yeah, I think one of the best things from like Sam Adams seasonal packs, period, is if you're relatively new into craft beer, or you're just maybe haven't ventured into a bunch of different styles, like getting a mix pack from Sam Adams, whether it's a variety pack from a certain season, whether it's fall, whatever, winter, or if it's like one of their variety packs, they have an IPA or let's do a lager, whatever. It's cheap, and you can try different styles, so you can pay $1 a beer. Like a lot of the 12 packs are anywhere from $12 to $15. So it's a good way to venture into styles and not spend a lot of money. But
it is a good primer to get into a style.
They're just not all the time. They're not extremely well made, or they're not the best in the style. So you get a kind of understanding what the style is supposed to be, but there are better ones out there. But as a beginner, it's a good intro to it, I think, for sure.
You're talking right to me.
I love the Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Yeah, like Sam Adams Oktoberfest isn't going to be the best Oktoberfest, but here's the funny thing. Paul from PA Brew News, him and I and another guy, Matt from Mass Beer Reviews, we did a blind taste testing. We did 9 Oktoberfest, and we did 5 European against 4 American, and then we did a finals. Sam Adams won. So I don't know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Because it was the most flavorful. Like I understand that Oktoberfest styles is supposed to be the most flavorful. It's just however it's brewed, to style or whatever. But it's fucking really good. It was the best of the bunch. We look like idiots.
Great American craft beer. I mean,
it really is. Yeah, it really is. Bang for your buck, and you're getting a decent price. It's not great. It's not bad. It's
a good price though for craft. It's very good price.
It's a very good price for a decent beer. Yeah, they're not the best, and they're not the crappiest. It's a good beer.
And
there's not many I don't like.
The best part about it is the availability. Everybody can get it. You don't have
exactly. Right.
It's in almost everybody's name.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If we've mentioned nothing about beer tonight, it's that we don't want to have geckos in our beer. No.
I would try a dry hopped gecko beer or dry gecko beer. I would, like William mentioned, I would I'll give it a try.
As long as they don't use extract. Don't use gecko extract.
I don't know if
gecko is not extract and it's smoked out of the water bong first. That way I get my THC too.
Yeah.
So you're a true American.
Drunken one does. But if we're talking gecko beers, I would like a gecko puree. But it was aged on gecko puree.
It was a dry.
I don't like gecko flavor.
It was a dry gecko, but I don't think it was hot.
I can really taste the skin. It's just.
But you missed about the Sam Adams, about the flavor. I know one time I watched a Conan O'Brien show, and Michael Jackson, the beer writer, was a regular guest on his show.
Mm-hmm.
He asked him one night, says, "What are you looking for in a beer?" And he said, "Flavor." That's like, duh. What else?
Yeah.
You know, that's what it all comes down to.
Refreshment.
But what is whatever flavor you're looking for, and everybody's looking for a different flavor, and that's the thing that makes beer in general awesome. Everybody's looking for something different, and you can find it nowadays.
I think of flavor is like the intensity, the amount of it. Mm-hmm. It's not bland. It's not something forgettable.
I'm gonna brew some.
Pops in the mind with the flavor.
It should bring an experience of some sort. Yeah, it should bring an experience. You know, whether it's good or bad, it should bring an experience. Is the way I look at it.
If you're
I don't get quiet now. Quit it.
Drunken, well, we respect you, and we want to listen to your opinions.
Yeah, come on now. Well, you're so full of shit, aren't you?
Well, okay, never mind. We don't respect you, and we don't want to hear anything from you, Drunken.
Hey, wait.
Yeah. See, I think the other way was better.
Yeah, I like the other way.
You will.
Are you going offline? Are we going to overtime?
Let's go overtime. We're gonna do it. I am Thomas Metal 75 of the Masters Beer Reviews. Until next time, keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. We'll see you soon. Thank you, panels. Thank you in the basement that didn't join us live, but thank you.
I did join you live. I'm right here. Same guy.
Cheers. Good. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Drunken One, for banning that creepy troll. We'll see you later.
Oh, thank you.